Chapter 217. Bei Xiaoman's hands were clasped behind her back. From her back, she looked like a 13 or 14-year-old girl. Her curves were tender and immature. Her fine black hair gave off a faint fragrance. It was clearly the fragrance of a virgin, like the scent of a rose. A rose with thorns? How was this a cute girl? She was clearly a ruthless and unruly princess. Ning Fan did not think much of it. This woman is cruel and merciless. It doesn't matter. In order to survive in the endless sea, what's the big deal about being a little cruel? But this woman shouldn't have provoked him. He pondered in his heart. The reason he came to the Lost World Palace this time was to fulfill his promise to Stone Warrior and make him swear loyalty to him. Although there were complications, there were still many benefits to becoming the master of the 3 pagodas. He was very interested in the recipe of the Lost World Palace's 5th revolution pill. For example, the separation and reunion pill, which could increase the success rate of attaining the divine transformation realm, and the primordial armor pill, which could increase the strength of an early divine transformation realm cultivator, were all pills that Ning Fan would need in the future. There was no pill formula. As for the pill refinement techniques above the 5th revolution, Ning Fan still needed to explore them by himself. The help of ancient chaos's memories was getting smaller and smaller. Even after breaking through to the void fragmentation realm, the help it provided would be close to 0. At that time, he could only rely on himself. When Bei Xiaoman was born, she was bestowed with a divine transformation realm puppet, a world treasure jade, a top-grade cultivation technique, countless medicinal pills, and a status that stood above all others. However, Ning Fan was not afraid of such superiority. Putting aside the plucking finger, Ning Fan did not think that he would lose to Bei Xiaoman. Although this woman had killed many people, she probably didn't have many real life and death battles. Southern Tower, Inner Palace. The Inner Palace was in a mess. Broken porcelain could be seen on the ground. It seemed like Bei Xiaoman had a fit. Unlike the last time he was here, he did not see any maidservants. Miss Bei's servants don't seem to be here. I killed them all. What, do you have a problem with that? Bei Xiaoman's crisp voice was as cold as ice. However, although her words were fierce, the words in her heart were like this. Bei Xiaoman, It's all your fault. My Gui star murderous energy is constantly out of control. In order to avoid indiscriminately killing servants, I have already dispersed it. It was so dirty and messy, and there was no one to clean it up. How could anyone live in it? It's all your fault, Zhou Ming. After I catch you, I'll definitely teach you a good lesson. Ning Fan's eyes flickered. It was as if he had gotten to know Bei Xiaoman all over again. He never expected that this woman would also have moments where she would be gentle to her subordinates. However, when Bei Xiaoman halted her footsteps, Ning Fan held the female corpse's small hand and maintained a distance of 10 zhang away from her. 10 zhang was a safe distance. There was a danger of being taken away by the dimensional treasure within 100 feet. Seeing that Ning Fan was deliberately keeping a distance from her, Bei Xiaoman was inwardly stunned. She thought to herself, could it be that this Zhou Ming has noticed something? When she took a step closer to him, Ning Fan immediately took a step back while holding the female corpse's hand. As they advanced and retreated, they were still separated by 100 feet. Zhou Ming, I didn't think that you would be so cowardly despite your ferocious appearance. Are you afraid that I'll eat you? Why are you hiding so far away? Indeed, I'm a little afraid. A lustful person like Miss Bei first peeped on me and my concubine's room. Then, she led me, a man, into Miss Bei's room. I'm afraid that if I'm not careful, I might fall into Miss Bei's trap and be violated by Miss Bei and lose my virginity. Who wants to violate you? You smell so good. Bei Xiaoman clenched her fists tightly. If it wasn't because she wanted to be closer to Ning Fan and keep him in the Yuanyao world, she would not even bother to talk to him. There was a requirement for a dimensional treasure to capture someone. If the magic power of the owner of the treasure was much stronger than the enemy, they could easily capture the enemy even if they were far away from each other. However, if both parties had similar strength, it would not be easy for the dimensional treasure to capture the person. It would be fine if the other party was not on guard against it. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for the dimensional treasure to capture the person. Bei Xiaoman knew that Ning Fan was arrogant and careless. She took out a red jade ring on her hand and it glowed faintly. Tenjiang. As the dignified descendant of the Gui vein and a peak nascent soul realm cultivator, she should have a high chance of capturing a nascent soul realm Ning Fan. Even if she fails to capture him, it would be a piece of cake for her to take him down with her own means. Even Bei Xiaoman herself did not realize that if it was her previous self, she would have directly attacked Ning Fan with her fists and forcefully captured him. Now, however, she secretly launched a sneak attack on Ning Fan. Unknowingly, she had become extremely wary of him. She hadn't realized this yet. Bei Xiaoman raised her hand and looked at Ning Fan proudly. Then, she giggled. Zhou Ming. Do you really want the green phoenix flame? I'm not going to give it to you. Miss Bei, isn't it a little unwise for you to insist on going against me? Ning Fan's eyes flashed with hostility. Bei Xiaoman's heart immediately trembled and she took a few steps back. She was secretly shocked. This Zhou Ming has such a strong hostility. The great devil Lord Zhou really lives up to his name. However, how did he know that I'm going to deal with him? He saw through it. That's right. Why do I insist on going against him? He is a 5th revolution pill master. My mother told me to befriend him. He has the immemorial devil vein. Even though I don't know what kind of immemorial devil vein it is, he seems to be the best candidate for the 9 worlds since he is a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. I haven't even given a single place to anyone. Isn't it better to give it to him? Why do I still want to deal with him? Why, is it just to increase my Gui star-killing chi? Is it just to destroy my Dao heart? My body is obviously weak and I can't even bear to lie in bed. Why did I get so excited when I heard that Zhou Ming was going to fight the 3 Tower Masters? I don't understand. In short, he is very hateful. Bei Xiaoman gritted her teeth. She did not know that her thoughts were all seen by Ning Fan through the yin-yang locket. Bei Xiaoman might not understand why she always went against Ning Fan, but Ning Fan could see through it. This Bei Xiaoman seems to like me a little. Of course, it's not quite right to say that she likes me. It should be a good impression towards someone who also practices the Tao of slaughter. However, I don't know how to express this good impression, but it was misinterpreted as a tit for tat. Interesting, the current Ning Fan's killing intent was gone. His eyes were unscrupulously staring at Bei Xiaoman's delicate body. His unrestrained gaze immediately caused Bei Xiaoman's face to turn red. She kept her initial intention of using the Yuanyao jade and scolded him. What are you looking at? What's there to look at? There's indeed nothing to look at. However, the blood jade ring in your hand seems to be a good magical treasure. It's called Yuanyao jade, right? How did you know? Bei Xiaoman's mind was in a mess. It was the expression of someone whose scheme was seen through. When she thought about how her plan to capture Ning Fan with the Yuanyao jade was exposed, she felt slightly embarrassed and angry. Without hesitation, she raised her hand. The blood jade ring flashed and a trace of world power swept towards Ning Fan and the female corpse. However, Ning Fan secretly activated the yin-yang locket and used a world treasure to fight against another world treasure. The world power swept towards him, but it did not move him at all. Not to mention capturing him into another space. How can this be? Yuanyao jade, keep. She waved her hand again. However, when the world power swept past Ning Fan, she still could not capture him. On the other hand, the female corpse was almost taken away by the world power. However, Ning Fan held her hand and kept her. If she was fearful of Ning Fan before this, she did not realize it. Now, her vigilance towards Ning Fan had risen to an unprecedented level. I know. So, you also have a world treasure. It's rare for someone from the lower world to possess a heavenly dwelling magical treasure. I didn't expect you to have one. But, I still have other. Ah. Before she could finish her words, her body swayed and she lost her balance. She almost fell to the ground. Even though she managed to stabilize her body, her face quickly turned pale. Moreover, the air was filled with a faint but sweet smell of blood. Blood! Looking at Bei Xiaoman who lost her balance, Ning Fan seemed to have understood something. Immediately, his expression turned strange. Interesting. I didn't expect that as a cultivator, you actually have. Don't say it. Don't look. Despicable. Despicable. Shameless. Why does it have to be at this moment? Her strength seemed to have been sucked dry. The smell of blood came from below her skirt, between her thighs. She knew that the Yuanyao jade was useless against Ning Fan. However, she thought that it would be easy for her to capture Ning Fan with her Gui vein ability. Unexpectedly, it had to be at this moment, but I can't lose. I can't let Ning Fan continue to smile proudly. That smile was too hateful. It was even more hateful than Ning Fan destroying her Dao heart. Gui. Gui technique, 7 kills. Body technique, rose step. Bei Xiaoman seemed to be barely able to form a hand seal. In the inner palace, 7 blood-red stars emerged and connected with the Big Dipper. Then, a ray of blood-red light fell from the sky and went into her feet. In a flash, she leaped into the sky and kicked Ning Fan's face. This kick was the body refinement realm of the 3rd realm of Silver Bone. It was fused with the Gui vein ability, the 7 kills technique. The strength of this kick was so fast that it could not be seen. It could even break a peak supreme grade magical treasure. However, even though the aura of the battle was strong, it did not spread to the outside world because of the formation in the inner palace. It seemed like Bei Xiaoman was worried that Lu Qing would stop her attack on Ning Fan. That was why she isolated the ripples of the battle. When this kick arrived in front of Ning Fan, it felt as if 1,000 stars were going to shatter. However, Ning Fan's eyes were indifferent. He remained unmoved and gently stretched out his palm. Silver light shone brightly and casually blocked the kick in front of her feet. Then, he sent out more than 10 palm strikes to disperse the immense force that was enough to shatter a magical treasure. As for Bei Xiaoman, her face was filled with shock. Ning Fan's attack was obviously at the half-step jade life body refinement realm. Moreover, the 10 palm strikes that he sent out were obviously the embodiment of his precise control of strength. If the force was a little weaker, he would certainly be injured by this kick. If the force was a little stronger, the bones of Bei Xiaoman's feet would be crushed by Ning Fan's terrifying strength. How could this be? You're just a person from the mortal world. How could your body refinement realm be higher than mine? How could you show mercy to me? Damn it! Damn it! Ah! She cried out in pain again. That kick had triggered the blood qi of her Gui vein, causing her blood and qi to go out of control. It turns out that this Zhou Ming is actually so powerful. Even if I'm at my peak, I can only be on par with him. However, if her attack was blocked by Ning Fan under normal conditions, she would admit defeat even though she was unruly. Unfortunately, her blood and qi were in a mess right now and she was at her weakest. It was obvious that Ning Fan was showing mercy to her. She couldn't accept it. She couldn't accept it. Looking at Ning Fan's calm smile, it was as if he was silently humiliating her. It was as if he was mocking her. As the descendant of the 4 heavens, she only had this little bit of cultivation. Bei Xiaoman's heart suddenly felt a little wronged. She gritted her teeth and tried to withdraw her long and jade-like leg. However, Ning Fan turned his palm into a claw and grabbed her ankle. With a tug, Bei Xiaoman's body that had lost all of her strength was pulled into his arms. The dignified fourth princess of the Northern Sea immortal world was held in Ning Fan's arms in a domineering manner. However, at this moment, Bei Xiaoman did not even have the slightest bit of strength left. She struggled and gently pushed Ning Fan's chest with her small hands. However, Ning Fan tightened his grip on her. Not to mention pushing Ning Fan away, it was extremely difficult for her to even stand. Moreover, if Ning Fan let go of her now, she would definitely fall to the ground. If Ning Fan didn't grab her earlier, she would most likely be sent flying by the rebounding force. Perhaps, she would fall to the ground in a sorry state. What do you want to do to me? Bei Xiaoman's face was abnormally red. Her blood and qi were in a mess. Her face that was as tender as a 13 or 14-year-old girl was now filled with despair as if she had seen through everything. As expected, you're going to defile me. My nightmare has come true. She opened her small mouth and used the last bit of her strength to bite Ning Fan's shoulder. However, because her strength was too weak, it was more like a flirting between lovers. Pluck you. Bei Xiaoman, you think too highly of yourself. A peak nascent soul realm cauldron only has 30 units of magical power. Compared to this, I am more worried that I will break my promise. I didn't expect that all the female cultivators in the world would stop their menstruation once they reached the harmonious spirit realm. However, you still have your period. If it wasn't for the fact that plucking you right now will harm your life and make me break my promise, I would really like to have a taste of a young girl who has her period. Ning Fan half teased and half smiled bitterly. After witnessing the truth, he had no choice but to stop his original plan of plucking. Troublesome, really troublesome, because under Bei Xiaoman's sexy short skirt and silk stockings, traces of red blood were flowing down her fair and tender thighs. This was very common in the mortal world, but it was rare in the cultivation world, a woman's period. This Bei Xiaoman is having her period. Normal female cultivators would not have their period. Period was also known as the Gui event and the red tide was also known as the Gui water. Unfortunately, Bei Xiaoman cultivated the Gui divine vein which was extremely yin and extremely murderous. She could be considered as a weirdo among the female cultivators in the cultivation world. This feeling of having an unfair advantage made Ning Fan feel gloomy. The feeling of not being able to pluck the excellent cauldron in his arms made him even more gloomy. The Gui divine vein could only be cultivated by women with special physiques. Every time this vein broke through to the next realm, it would be a nightmare for female cultivators. They must not get hurt or see blood. Once blood was seen, the wound would bleed non-stop. That was why Ning Fan could not pluck this woman. The virgin blood would be drained and Bei Xiaoman would die of exhaustion. Ning Fan could take her virginity and primordial yin and he was confident that no one would know about it. However, if he harmed her life, it would be hard to hide it. The Northern Sea immortal world would send countless true immortals down to the mortal world. As such, he could not let this woman die so easily. Let go of me. Bei Xiaoman was in Ning Fan's arms. Her flat chest was pressed against Ning Fan's chest. It made her feel so ashamed that she wanted to die. You learned what I said. The female corpse blinked her eyes curiously and joined in. Ning Fan sighed softly. I probably have to be kind and help this woman to stop her bleeding. It's better this way. I might as well record the process of stopping the bleeding with a jade slip. With this jade slip, even if I don't pluck Bei Xiaoman, this woman's chastity would still be in my hands. It seems a little despicable. Wei Liang, watch the door. Don't let anyone in, all right. The female corpse stood at the door with an expression that said, whoever enters will die. In front of Bei Xiaoman's incredulous eyes, Ning Fan threw her on the bed. What made her feel lucky was that Ning Fan did not pluck her like what he did in her dream. What made her feel ashamed and angry was that Ning Fan's hand was caressing her legs that were covered with silk stockings and went under her skirt. Bei Xiaoman felt a chill in her heart. Her eyes were filled with fear. She wanted to use her elemental hand to stop it but it was impossible. Her chest that was as flat as a grassland was not worth admiring at all. However, her slender legs were the place that she was proud of. If this place was touched by a man, it would be a great humiliation. You. Shameless. Don't look. You. Stop, don't make a fuss. I'm just helping you to stop the bleeding. You're having your period. If I don't stop the bleeding, you'll die. Ning Fan's expression was indifferent, as if he had no interest in Bei Xiaoman's flat chest or her slender legs. Probably, and this indifferent gaze, in this kind of environment, was undoubtedly extremely hurtful. Zhou Ming. You detestable. Don't make a fuss. I'm just stopping the bleeding. Ning Fan's technique was skillful. He pointed at Bei Xiaoman's lower abdomen and between her thighs. The blood of the Gui vein was not easy to control. Fortunately, menstruation was something that a woman should do. If it was other wounds, it would be much more troublesome. Bei Xiaoman was so angry that she was about to cry. She was the dignified fourth miss of the northern heaven, but her most private parts were touched by Ning Fan, who she hated the most. The most hateful thing was that Ning Fan placed a jade slip on the table, facing her direction. It seemed like he was using the jade slip to take pictures. You. Quickly turn off the jade slip. Don't take pictures. Isn't it good to keep something as a souvenir? If you provoke me again in the future, this jade slip will be announced to the world. If you stop me from obtaining the green phoenix fire again, this jade slip will also be announced to the world. How dare you? Bei Xiaoman cried. There are always people who love to ask me this question. Bei Xiaoman, with my personality, it's already rare enough for me to save you once. When we meet again in the future, it will be when I pluck you. Remember this well. Ning Fan kept his expression and did not say anything else. He had not done such a despicable, shameless and evil thing for a long time. If you are obedient, this jade slip will be destroyed one day and Shi Bing will come back. Ning Fan said indifferently. What? What? Grandpa Shi Bing. It's you. It's you. What did you do to him? You don't need to know. I will tell you everything when you become my cauldron. No, the word, can, was at the tip of her mouth, but she swallowed it back down. It was not that she did not want to say it, but after Ning Fan injected a trace of Yin plucking finger into her body, she could not speak anymore. She gradually fell asleep. How could this be? If I fall asleep, will I be eaten? Grandpa Shi Bing, where are you? Where are you? Xiaoman misses you so much. Come and save me quickly, stinky Zhou Ming, rotten Zhou Ming, you bully me. You always bully me. I hate you. Chapter 218. This short hour felt like a lifetime. Bei Xiaoman was drenched in sweat. Her flat chest heaved up and down gently. Half of it was because of the pain and the other half was because of Ning Fan's touch. It was just that this evil woman clenched her silver teeth and endured her delicate panting. Her small face was flushed red, but she couldn't stop herself from calling out. Painful, very painful. This was the menstrual cramps of the mortal world. After being amplified by the Gui meridian, even Bei Xiaoman found it hard to endure. Numb and powerless. With her prideful personality, she felt like dying when her private parts were touched. Zhou Ming. You are evil. Her head was dizzy and she felt wronged as she held back her tears. However, she had to admit that Ning Fan's Tao of healing was extremely profound. Not every pill refinement master could be considered as a doctor. Doctors not only needed to know how to concoct pills and research medicines, but also needed to know acupuncture, massage and many other miraculous techniques. The medical knowledge in ancient chaos memories was undoubtedly brilliant. The massage technique that was infused with the yin-yang transformation had countless mysterious techniques that could make a woman feel extremely comfortable during the massage. Ning Fan purposely did not stop the pain from Bei Xiaoman. He was only responsible for stopping the bleeding. Even though Bei Xiaoman was humiliated, she still clenched her teeth and refused to give in. Compared to Yulong, Xiao Wan Luo, and the other men, she could be considered as enduring patiently. Although this woman's character was fierce, her backbone was not bad. At the very least, this woman's face was pale from the pain and she was drenched in sweat, but she still did not beg for mercy. Seeing that Bei Xiaoman was on the verge of fainting from the pain, Ning Fan no longer punished her. With his cunning mind, he knew that she was just a spoiled princess. Everything she did was just a little girl messing around. That was all. If you beg me, I will help you relieve the pain. Ning Fan's magical force condensed into needles. Each of the silver needles pierced into her skin. They cleared the meridians and did not pierce through her skin at all. No. Bei Xiaoman's eyelashes were filled with tears, but she refused to yield. Very good. I like women who don't beg others. Bah, who wants you to, like, ah. Bei Xiaoman still wanted to talk back, but Ning Fan had already used one finger to pluck her in. The force of his finger once again entered her body. Electric currents coursed through her entire body. Her petite body trembled slightly. It was tense at first, but then it gradually softened. The pain gradually faded away. As for Bei Xiaoman, she felt as if she was floating in the clouds, comfortable and relaxed. The unnatural blush on her pretty face had already disappeared, and what replaced it was a blush of passion. Her pretty face was as red as a peach, her eyes were as clear as the autumn moon, and her breath was as fragrant as orchids. Zhou Ming. You're so annoying. I hate you. The unruly look in Bei Xiaoman's eyes slowly faded away, leaving only the passion of a young girl. Amidst the confusion, she stared at Ning Fan in a daze. Her heart was filled with grievances and resentment. Charm can stop the pain. Ning Fan did not explain much to her. Instead, he carefully observed her face. His gaze landed on Bei Xiaoman's body, causing her to feel ashamed, resentful, and fearful. She could not help but clamp her thighs together, rubbing them gently. Under the bewitching spell, her mind became more and more muddled. Grandpa Bing, you're lost. Xiaoman can't find you. Xiaoman misses you so much, mother. Xiaoman doesn't want to cultivate the Gui Meridian. Xiaoman is afraid of blood and killing people, Zhou Ming. Zhou Ming. He's so strange. I can't see through him. He's clearly just a harmonious spirit realm cultivator, but why is his killing intent so strong? Why is his body full of injuries? How did he manage to come to the cultivation tomb? How did he have the fifth revolution pill refinement technique? Why is he so calm? Why is my heart racing when I seduce him? He's willing to lower himself and wear shoes for me. He's very interesting. He bullied me and purposely showed me erotic things. He became my heart's devil and humiliated me in my dreams every night. Mother, Xiaoman hates Zhou Ming. The dazed Bei Xiaoman grabbed the blanket with one of her small hands, enduring the stimulation of the bewitching spell. Her other hand grabbed Ning Fan's hand and looked at him with a wronged expression. Mother. Xiaoman is so lonely. Ning Fan remained silent. The dazed Bei Xiaoman actually mistook him for his mother. This ferocious little girl could only be considered gentle at times like this. Her eyes were filled with fear, like a newborn kitten. Mother. Hug Xiaoman, N. Let's sleep, cauldron lady. Ning Fan's heart softened. Bei Xiaoman wasn't a bad person. It was just that her temperament was messed up after cultivating the Gui vein. Bei Xiaoman was just a spoilt little princess, a child who missed her mother. It should be a happy thing to have mother here. I was born in this world and I should have parents. It's just that I've never met my parents before. It's really a regret in my life. A few hours later, Bei Xiaoman, who was in a daze, woke up in Ning Fan's arms. She was naked. At this moment, her actions were extremely ambiguous. Her back was facing Ning Fan's and her chest was tightly embraced by Ning Fan's arms. Her soft buttocks were pressed against Ning Fan's that. Fortunately, Ning Fan didn't take off her clothes and didn't pluck her. After confirming that her clothes were intact, she heaved a sigh of relief. But a moment later, her face turned red. Even though she didn't take off her clothes, her skirt and red silk were in a mess. One of her jade-like fingers was caressing her skirt, maintaining a provocative posture. Bei Xiaoman was going crazy. She actually violated herself when she was in a daze. In front of Zhou Ming. She violated herself. Her period had stopped, but the blood stained the hem of Ning Fan's robe, the bedsheet was stained with blood and stains. How could she? How could she, the dignified fourth lady of the northern sky, lose her composure like this? And in front of that hateful Zhou Ming. He saw the worst side of himself. Zhou Ming. Take your filthy hands away. You despicable ant, maggot, cockroach, grasshopper, stinking scoundrel. You're awake. But which one is the dirty hand? Is it this side or this side? Ning Fan hugged Bei Xiaoman. His left hand was on her flat chest while his right hand was on her inner thigh. With a slight movement of his palm, Bei Xiaoman, whose body was exceptionally sensitive due to her previous misdeeds, immediately let out a soft moan. Immediately, half of her face turned red from anger, while the other half turned pale. Zhou Ming. Don't go too far. Going too far. You're my human cauldron. The reason why I'm not plucking you now is because I'm afraid of hurting your gui vein. Ning Fan withdrew his hand and took out a jade slip from his storage pouch. Immediately, Bei Xiaoman's arrogance that had just risen in her heart softened. This. Could this be? This is the recording of your absurd act just now. I've made 2 copies of it. I'll keep one for myself and give you the other one. Bei Xiaoman, who had slightly recovered her strength, pulled a thin blanket to cover her delicate body. Then, she took the jade slip and sent her spirit sense into it. Immediately, her childish and crisp voice trembled. Is this me? How could I do such a shameful thing? I even recognized you as my mother and hid in your embrace. Zhou Ming. You're despicable. It's all because you used your bewitching technique to bewitch me. Pa! The jade slip was crushed into pieces by Bei Xiaoman's small hand. However, the original copy was still kept by Ning Fan. If this jade slip is leaked to the public, Bei Xiaoman would be ruined. She did not care about her reputation, but she was a woman after all. How could she not care about something that was related to her innocence? The jade slip is in your hands. Grandpa Stone Soldier is also in your hands. It's good that you're not stupid. What do I have to do to make you let Stone Soldier go and destroy the jade slip? Bei Xiaoman said coldly. When the time is right, it will naturally be destroyed. After I attain the divine transformation realm, Stone Soldier will no longer be of use to me and I will return him. Bei Xiaoman, even though you're unruly and ruthless, I won't be too merciless towards my human cauldron. Pa! Who's your human cauldron? I'm just lying here. Do you still dare to pluck me? Do you want to try? Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. No, I don't want to. Bei Xiaoman immediately gave in. She faintly felt that this Zhou Ming would do what he said, even her mother might not be able to make her give in. However, she had no choice but to lower her head in front of Zhou Ming, who she hated the most. Oh right. Where's my storage pouch? Where's the Yuanyao jade? Your storage pouch. I've taken 50 million immortal jade and some pills. I didn't touch the rest. As for the Yuanyao jade, it's mine now. He returned the shriveled storage pouch to Bei Xiaoman. Immediately, Bei Xiaoman's temper flared up again. I can give you the immortal jade and pills. But you can't take the Yuanyao jade. This item has a special meaning. Bei Xiaoman said anxiously. What meaning? I'm not telling you. In short, give it back to me. Ning Fan shook his head. There are some things that I will know even if you don't tell me. He activated the yin-yang locket and used the mind-reading technique. Immediately, he could see through Bei Xiaoman's thoughts. Other than being a world treasure that could open up a small kiliacosm, this jade was also the token of the 4 unmarried ladies of Bei Ming heaven. With this jade, Bei Xiaoman would be considered as his woman. Interesting. This jade belongs to me now. You. Bei Xiaoman's heart thumped wildly. Half of it was because of anger and the other half was because of embarrassment. Ning Fan had seen and touched me completely. Isn't that the end? This person even took the Yuanyao jade. If my mother finds out about this, I will have no choice but to marry him. What should I do? What should I do? Alright, quickly change your clothes. Let's go out. If we don't go out now, I'm afraid that Lu Qing is going to barge in. Our ambiguous conversation seems to have gone on for a long time. What? Bei Xiaoman's scalp went numb when she thought that Lu Qing might barge in and break the awkward atmosphere between her and Ning Fan. My chastity cannot be ruined by Ning Fan's hands. Her entire body was shrunk in the thin quilt, only revealing her messy hair. She took off her blood-stained clothes. By the way, your legs are quite nice. They feel good too. Ning Fan suddenly said. He vaguely remembered that Mo Yun had said that such words could make Bei Xiaoman happy. Humph. Shameless. Bei Xiaoman retorted, but she was secretly pleased with herself. Humph humph, great devil Zhou has good eyes. My legs are the most beautiful. Although my chest is flat, after a long time, Ning Fan took away the green phoenix fire under Bei Xiaoman's obedience. Lu Qing was waiting anxiously in the lower palace after he got down from the top of the tower. He thought that Miss and Zhou Ming's conversation was a little too long. He was enjoying the fragrant tea in his mouth, but his throat was tasteless. From his point of view, Mrs. Safety would not be in danger with the stone warrior puppet around. However, if Miss really fell in love with Zhou Ming and fell in love with him in the room, then, he, Lu Qing, would probably lose his head. I don't think so. Miss might have a good impression of Zhou Ming, but with Mrs.'s personality, she would never sleep with Zhou Mingxiang or have sex with him. I was overthinking. Lu Qing laughed mockingly at himself. How could he not know what kind of person his miss was? Not to mention having sex with a man. Even if a man looked at her for a second longer, she would kill him. While he was enjoying the tea, he saw Ning Fan, the female corpse, and Bei Xiaoman coming down from the tower. Lu Qing heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that Miss was safe and sound. But at the next moment, his expression changed to one of fear. Her complexion was rosy and lustrous. In her eyes, there was still a trace of lust that had yet to disperse. It was as if she was a woman who had just had sex and obtained great satisfaction. Although her attitude towards Ning Fan was still cold, it was a lot more respectful. It was as if she was forcefully tamed. Could it be that Miss has been Zhou Ming? No, it's impossible. I must be overthinking. Puff. When Lu Qing's gaze fell upon the blood jade ring on Ning Fan's right hand, he almost choked on the tea. Yuanyao jade. Mrs. Betrothal gift. How did it fall into Zhou Ming's hands? Could it be that something unexpected really happened in the past few hours? Miss, you and Zhou Ming? Lu Qing asked cautiously. How dare you? Zhou Ming and I didn't do anything. Bei Xiaoman's heart seemed to have been touched and she immediately rebuked. It's fine if I was bullied by Ning Fan, but now, even Lu Qing dares to step on my face. Damn it. Lu Qing's mind was struck by lightning and his heart was in turmoil. Nothing was done. Does that mean he did it? It's over. Miss has been eaten by Zhou Ming. If the revered Lord of the Lost World Palace finds out about this, Lu Qing will definitely die. Poor supervision. Poor supervision. Using a jade slip to threaten others was not the right way. In the eyes of the evil Dao, it was considered a shameless act. But if the right way cannot be taken, then the opposite way must be taken. If the hard way cannot be taken, then the soft way must be taken. If the yang way cannot be taken, then the yin way must be taken. The process could not be ignored, but the result was absolute. If he couldn't achieve his goal, everything was just empty talk. The old monster did not teach Ning Fan too much, but he taught him 2 words. Unscrupulous. Chapter 219. Ning Fan swept away the medicine storehouses and pill recipes of the East, West, and North Towers. He took away a total of 474th Revolution pills. High-grade 4th Revolution Earth Primordial Pill. 1 pill could increase a mid-nascent soul cultivator's magic power by 1 unit. 70 pills. Peak grade 4th Revolution Heaven Primordial Pill. 1 pill could increase a late nascent soul cultivator's magic power by 1 unit. 110 pills. Peak grade 4th Revolution Profound Primordial Pill. 1 pill could increase a peak nascent soul cultivator's magic power by 1 unit. 290 pills. All of these pills were 4th Revolution. If Ning Fan were to concoct them, he would need at least a year or even a few years to concoct all of them. Moreover, the amount of Millennium spiritual herbs required was terrifying. These pills were stored in the Lost World Palace for thousands of years. They were worth 1 billion immortal jade. Ning Fan took them all. 1 billion immortal jade. Even a void refinement realm cultivator might not have that many immortal jade. 1 billion immortal jade was more than enough to set up a mortal void realm grand formation that could reverse the flow of mountains and rivers. Of course, these pills could not be converted into money. After all, the Lost World Palace did not have 1 billion immortal jade. The Lost World Tower had a huge income, but it also had a huge expenditure. Ning Fan did not have the intention to sell the pills. It was the right decision to come to the Lost World Palace to obtain such a huge amount of pills. Lu Qing did not object to Ning Fan taking away the pills. He only asked Ning Fan to keep his relationship with Bei Xiaoman a secret before he ascends to immortality. Ning Fan agreed with a smile. He and Bei Xiaoman really had nothing to do with each other. Other than these pills, he also took all the 5th Revolution pill recipes of the Lost World Palace. As expected of a major force of the 4 heavens. Even a small silver tower in the lower realms had many rare ancient items stored in it. Ning Fan had memorized all of these pill recipes. As such, his 5th Revolution pill concoction technique could be put to good use. He took some millennium and 10,000 years spiritual herbs, but not too many. After all, Ning Fan's time was tight for cultivation. He did not put too much effort into pill concoction. It seemed that the early 5th Revolution pill concoction technique was enough for now. Ning Fan took some magical treasures and spiritual equipment, but he did not value them too much. He was interested in immemorial divine weapon of Bei Xiaoman, the blood whip. Unfortunately, the whip had already been refined by Bei Xiaoman's mind. Unless he harmed her and snatched it, he would not be able to obtain it. Since he already had 2 immemorial mystical weapons, there was no need for him to fight with his cauldron. That's right, a human cauldron. Bei Xiaoman will never be able to escape from the devil's clutches in this lifetime. The night sky was dark. The female corpse lay on the bed obediently. She followed Ning Fan's order to rest, even though she was a corpse devil and did not need to sleep. As for Ning Fan, he was sitting on a cushion in front of the window, bathing in the moonlight while absorbing the medicinal power of the Earth Primordial Dan. The Earth Essence Pill, the Heaven Essence Pill, and the Profound Essence Pill could only be consumed by those in the specified realm. Since that was the case, the other 2 pills could be treated as well. He could only refine them after he broke through to the late and pinnacle stages. The medicinal power of a 4th Revolution pill was already enormous. It would take a few months or even a few years for a normal nascent soul cultivator to refine one. However, Ning Fan could refine 1 pill in half a day's time. For an entire month, he did not leave his house and stayed in the North Tower to refine the medicinal energy. Lu Qing would occasionally visit him, but knowing that he was in seclusion, he did not disturb him. As for Bei Xiaoman, she seemed to be purposely avoiding Ning Fan. She was eager to disturb him. The dead woman was quietly embroidering, each needle and thread was sewn into a flawless pattern. This kind of life was very peaceful. It almost made Ning Fan forget about the tiredness of the path of cultivation. After 1 month, he had refined 70 earth essence pills and his magic power had already reached 260 units. Only 40 units away from the late nascent soul realm, 40 units. Unless he has another 40 earth essence pills, 2 nascent soul realm Dao fruits or 2 nascent soul realm cauldrons, he would not be able to break through to the late nascent soul realm. In his dantian, his nascent soul had completely stabilized. The primordial qi of heaven and earth in his body began to merge, giving Ning Fan an illusion that he was going to become one with heaven and earth and disappear into it. If I have another 40 units of magic power, I will be a grand cultivator. It would be a pity if I don't seize this opportunity to break through. Fortunately, I have this item. Pa! Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a green jade gourd. It was filled with dark red blood. If he were to pour it out, there would probably be a few bowls of it. He had collected this blood when he was trying to stop Bei Xiaoman's bleeding. It was fine to be kind sometimes. However, Ning Fan would never return empty-handed. Even if he was doing a good deed, he still had to collect Bei Xiaoman's gui blood. Ordinary female cultivators did not have menstruation. The so-called primordial yin blood would only appear when they lose their virginity. However, Bei Xiaoman, even though she did not have the body of a human cauldron, she was still the best human cauldron for Ning Fan even if he did not pluck her. The blood of her menstruation was cold and evil, but it was a supreme nourishment. Ning Fan poured her blood into a jade bowl and drank it with a determined look. There was a hint of sweetness in it. After drinking 3 bowls, the blood was finished. Refinement. 30 units of magic power was refined vigorously. It fused into Ning Fan's immortal veins. Magic power, 290 units. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. It seemed like he had made the right decision in dealing with Bei Xiaoman. As long as she did not lose her virginity and her true yin body was still intact, her gui meridian would be in disorder. She could have her menstruation once every few years. The amount of blood he got from her once was comparable to the total amount of energy he plucked from her. Moreover, with her innate potential, she would reach the divine transformation realm, void refinement realm and void fragmentation realm sooner or later. When that time comes, her gui blood would be even purer. Keeping her alive was equivalent to providing Ning Fan with a virgin blood bank. However, after a while, he stopped thinking about it. Putting Bei Xiaoman's matter aside, the most important thing now was to break through to the late nascent soul realm. I only need 10 units of magic power left. I must break through the last 10 units. His eyes fell on the heavenly primordial pill in front of him. There was a clear restriction on this pill. Only late nascent soul realm cultivators could consume it. If a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator consumed it, the medicinal power would be too strong and his immortal veins would not be able to withstand it. However, compared to breaking through to the nascent soul realm, a mere injury was nothing. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with determination. He opened the bottle and consumed 10 heavenly primordial pills. Immediately, he felt a tearing pain in his immortal veins. A trace of blood flowed down from the corner of his mouth. However, so what if it was blood? So what if it was self-harm? On the path of cultivation, one could only advance forward bravely. If one did not have an irresistible will, how could he break through the bottleneck? Heaven and earth were like a cage. Everyone was like a trapped beast. Some were trapped to death while some were still fighting. Refine. In his dantian, the nascent soul realm's small hands formed a series of hand seals and its eyes were filled with ruthlessness. He had broken too many rules along the way. This time was not a bad time. 5th day. 5 days later, a boundless aura force rose from the northern tower and swept towards Xianwu city. At this moment, all the cultivators in the city felt a great pressure. That pressure merged with heaven and earth as if it was the heavenly might. 1,000 miles of red clouds. The sky was filled with blood-red lightning. This is. Someone in Xianwu City has broken through to the late nascent soul realm. Who is it? Northern Tower, Northern Tower. Could it be that person? What? It's revered Ming. At this moment, Lu Qing came out of his seclusion in shock. Bei Xiaoman also came out of her room in disbelief. Looking up. Under the blood-red lightning, a black-haired young man held a lightning whip and lashed at the lightning clouds. Originally, the heavens should have sent a tribulation to him. But now, he was the one who defied the lightning and attacked the heavens. At the moment when he destroyed the lightning in the sky, his aura force rose rapidly. His magic power had broken through to 350 units. Late nascent soul realm. He actually broke through to the late nascent soul realm in such a short time. How could this be? Putting aside the fact that those earth primordial pills were insufficient, even if they were sufficient, he shouldn't have refined 70 earth primordial pills in just 1 month. Wait. This is. Bei Xiaoman sent out her spirit sense in disbelief. She sensed a trace of blood at the corner of Ning Fan's mouth. How could she not be familiar with that trace of blood? It was her blood. He drank my dirty and shameless. Zhou Ming, are you trying to anger me to death? Bei Xiaoman stomped her feet in anger and embarrassment. She finally understood how Ning Fan gathered enough magic power, however, she felt that she could not see through Ning Fan at all. What kind of man is he? He is different from all the men that my mother has told me about. Even though he was just a weak late nascent soul realm cultivator, Bei Xiaoman suddenly felt that Ning Fan could dominate the external endless sea today. In the future, he might even become a venerated being in the 4 heavens. Humph. You're quite strong. Even though you're just a despicable maggot. Bei Xiaoman snorted softly. No one knew what she was thinking. However, at the next moment, a scene that she would never forget for the rest of her life appeared. When the tribulation lightning dispersed, the sea mist turned into rain. When the rainstorm poured down like a heavy pillar, Ning Fan suddenly raised his head and his eyes were filled with indifference. This rain is too noisy. He grabbed with his hand. Millions of raindrops were dyed with a trace of black color and flew to the sky. Not a single drop was left. The rain stopped. Ning Fan actually used his divine ability to stop the thunderstorm that filled the sky. Bei Xiaoman had seen this method before. It was the use of divine intent. However, even a divine transformation realm cultivator who has just comprehended the divine intent would not be able to change the weather. However, he did it. Disperse. Ning Fan's voice melded with the sky and echoed in the Black Tortoise City for a long time. The old monsters who wanted to congratulate Ning Fan and establish a good relationship with him returned after being rejected. Ning Fan did not have time to waste on these people. He still needed to stabilize his cultivation base. After that, he would consume the heavenly primordial pill. Not enough. Not enough. The more he improved his strength, the more insignificant he felt. The heavenly Tao was a circle. The stronger one's cultivation base was, the more unknowns he would come into contact with. A newborn calf was not afraid of a tiger. In the past, he dared to challenge Moksha Sovereign and Bone Sovereign because he was ignorant and fearless. Even though he was still fearless now, he deeply understood how strong Bone Sovereign and Moksha Sovereign were. Moksha Sovereign. His arrival could cause the divine sovereigns of the rain world to panic. Not enough. Not enough. Late nascent soul realm was still far from enough. After I consume all the heavenly primordial pills, my magic power will reach 460 units. It's still far from enough to break through to the divine transformation realm. 10,000 units of magic power. The barrier that is truly difficult to increase will start from the late nascent soul realm. Late nascent soul realm. Many heroes and old monsters were stuck at this step, their Tao disappearing and they perishing. Chapter 220. Stabilizing his cultivation base took a month. Refining the heavenly primordial pill took another month. His magic power of 460 units was as dense as the ocean. It was equivalent to the total of 100 gold core realm cultivators. However, it was still insufficient when compared to a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. After sitting on the cushion for a long time, Ning Fan opened his eyes. His eyes were as deep as a cold pond. Breaking through to the peak nascent soul realm is a problem. My mental state is also a problem. My cultivation base is growing too fast, but my mental state is still stuck at the mid-nascent soul realm. Unless I gain some enlightenment when I go out to train and improve my mental state. It's about time to leave Penglai. He muttered to himself and took out a jade slip. Immediately, the jade slip flashed and reflected a virtual image of a sea map in the room. This map almost included all the territories of the external endless sea. It even included the border of the internal endless sea. Tens of millions of li away from the northeast of Black Tortoise Island was the Pleasure Devil Sea. Black snow fell from the sky all year round. Moreover, it was rich in spiritual ores and the magnetic force was strong enough to interfere with spirit sense. Unless one's cultivation base reaches the divine transformation realm, they would usually get lost if they were not familiar with the sea. The long journey was not a problem. When Ning Fan was at the harmonious spirit realm, he might need to travel for a few years. However, his current speed was almost comparable to a divine transformation realm cultivator when he flew at full speed. With his abundant magic power, he could easily travel 3,000 li in an instant. It was not difficult for him to travel 1,000,000 li in a day. Being unfamiliar with the sea route was not a problem. Yulong was the solution to this problem. As for danger, it was even less of a problem. In the external endless sea, Ning Fan was the only one who could bring danger to others. No one could threaten him. However, this trip was not only for the auction of the Pleasure Devil Sex Cauldron but also for the secret realm of the Broken World. Even though false wild beasts could be killed, they should not be underestimated. The power of a divine transformation realm cultivator is too strong. The profound heavenly spirit-slaying sword is just an incomplete profound heavenly treasure, but the power of that sword is almost stronger than all of my techniques. His spirit sense was already at the half-step divine transformation realm. It would be difficult for him to break through any further. Unless he went into seclusion like he did in the past. Otherwise, he could only wait for the day when the bottleneck breaks through. However, even if his half-step divine transformation realm spirit sense uses the Black Tempest spirit-splitting technique, it might not be as powerful as the profound heavenly spirit-slaying sword. I can disregard supreme-grade magic treasures, but spirit treasures, magic treasures need to be upgraded. The Thunder Whip is a treasure that can kill the nascent soul. It has unpredictable methods and is extremely useful. However, once I enter the divine transformation realm, I will no longer have the heavenly tribulation blood lightning to refine this treasure. It will not be easy for me to improve it. I have already thought of a name for this treasure. It shall be called the Spirit-Shattering Whip. The divine body that the whip destroyed was not the primordial divine body, but the primordial divine soul. The direction of refining this treasure is still to kill the nascent soul. If it becomes a spiritual treasure, it would be to crush the nascent soul of a soul formation cultivator. Looking at the second immemorial divine weapon, the Spirit-Shattering Whip, Ning Fan's eyes lit up. This treasure was already a supreme-grade high-grade magic treasure. As long as I can find lightning to refine it, my future will be boundless. One day, it might even surpass the immortal artifact it imitated, the deity-striking whip. As for the first immemorial divine weapon, Ning Fan's finger touched his forehead and drew out a ray of starlight, turning it into Separation Slayer. Separation Slayer. This sword has the Mortal Void grade divine ability, Soul Burning. However, as the enemy's cultivation realm increases, the effect of the spirit augmentation divine ability will become weaker and weaker. As for the high-grade divine weapon, it is useless against nascent soul realm enemies, let alone spirit severing. It seems like I need to devour a few spirit veins to refine this sword. If I can find a spirit vein of a spirit-severing sect and try to devour it, not only can I refine the Separation Slayer sword, but I can also learn the second finger of the sword finger. The first finger of the sword finger can injure a nascent soul realm cultivator. The second finger can injure a spirit-severing realm cultivator. The first finger, mountain-shattering. The second finger, heaven-shattering. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with uncertainty. The grade of the Separation Slayer sword needs to be improved. As for the spirit-shattering whip, I need to find an extraordinary spirit iron to augment its spirit. In Ning Fan's eyes, unless it is a mortal void-grade spirit iron, it would be a waste to attach it to an immemorial divine weapon that has a boundless future. Perhaps, I can buy some spirit iron during my trip to the Pleasure Devil Sea. After all, that place is rich in spirit ores. The only thing that could make Ning Fan refine it patiently was an immemorial divine weapon. As for the other magical treasures that he could use for a short period of time, he could just snatch them by force after his cultivation realm increases. After keeping the Separation Slayer sword, Ning Fan remained silent. What he was looking at was the blood jade ring on the tip of his finger. World Treasure, Yuanyao Jade. World treasures were also divided into different grades. The Yuanyao world in this jade ring was a small kiliacosm. The usage of this treasure was different from the cauldron ring. It could be used to nurture humans, but with the cauldron ring, there was no need to use it to nurture a cauldron. Another usage of the world treasure was to trap the enemy. Trapping the enemy in the world was a light punishment. In the world, the owner of the treasure could set up a grand formation in advance to attack the enemy. Of course, there were many ways to increase the attack of the world. Other than setting up formations, it could also be embedded with magical treasures and fused with divine abilities. The female corpse was still lying on her side on the bed. Her beautiful eyes were staring at Ning Fan without blinking. As for Ning Fan, he got up and walked to the window. He touched the cold and emotionless face of the female corpse. Wei-Yang, wait for me. I need to go somewhere, all right. The female corpse replied respectfully. Then, Ning Fan's blood jade ring flashed. The power of the world enveloped him and he disappeared without a trace. The female corpse immediately became frightened. She crawled out of the thin blanket and was at a loss of what to do. Light, don't go. Her eyes flickered with a dark light as if she was about to go berserk because of Ning Fan's disappearance. Fortunately, Ning Fan's world power flashed and he appeared in front of her. Seeing that the female corpse was about to go berserk, he immediately hugged her and stroked her hair as if he was coaxing a child. I knew it. I probably have to bring you into the world with me. Otherwise, if you go berserk, I'm afraid this Xianwu city will face a calamity. Light. Light. Seeing Ning Fan's appearance, the dark light in the female corpse's eyes gradually dissipated and she calmed down. Let's go. The profound Yin world can only be activated after one has attained the third level of the cultivation method. I'll bring you to see my first world first, the Yuanyao world. The power of the world flashed and swept the two of them away. At the next moment, a man and a woman appeared in a void world. It was not a real void world. It was just pitch black and there was no void power to tear it apart. Even if there was, Ning Fan was not afraid because he had the Eastern Ocean bell with him. It was as if night had descended upon the world. Beneath their feet was a desolate and uneven land which looked like the surface of the stars. This boundless land was tens of millions of li wide. However, there was no sunlight, no rain, no flowers, birds, insects and fishes. In the past, Bei Xiaoman wanted to imprison Ning Fan in this place. Light. I'm afraid. The female corpse grabbed Ning Fan's clothes gently with fear in her eyes. Don't be afraid. This place will have sunlight, rain, grass, trees, mountains and rivers sooner or later. Bei Xiaoman is so lazy. She has this world treasure but she doesn't use it to transform this world. This task will probably fall on me. Look, if I plant mountains and rivers on this boundless land, I can set up a grand formation. If magic treasures are embedded in this pitch-black sky, they will turn into stars. If I transform this world properly, even early divine transformation realm experts will die as soon as they enter this world. Light is the strongest. The female corpse did not understand what Ning Fan was talking about. Her eyes were sparkling like stars. It was a kind of dependence without any memories or intelligence. It was an instinctive dependence. This dependence made Ning Fan chuckle. He stroked her hair again. In the cauldron ring, there was a pond of cold moon spring. It belonged to the Hu clan of Yu country. I'll leave this spring water for the lady in the cauldron to bathe. The mountains and rivers of this Yuanya world still need Ning Fan to obtain them bit by bit. In that case, Ning Fan might have something to do before he reaches the Pleasure Devil Sea. On the next day, Ning Fan and the female corpse left Xianwu City and Penglai Immortal Island. The pitiful old ancestor Yu Long was also with them. He had already been planted with a mental seal. Lu Qing gave him a sea boat. Ning Fan accepted it without hesitation and treated it as if he had never used it. As for Bei Xiaoman, she hid from Ning Fan and did not send him off. Only when Ning Fan's figure was about to disappear into the horizon did she finally lean on the windowsill of the southern tower. She fiddled with the roses on the flower rack and let out a soft sigh. She seemed to be sighing and relieved at the same time. That annoying Zhou Ming finally left. Without the protection of the stone warrior, it's still not suitable for me to move around alone since I'm about to reach the divine transformation realm. Otherwise, it might be interesting to follow Zhou Ming to the Pleasure Devil Sea to have some fun. Pooh! Why do I have to follow a maggot? I'm not that lonely. There are still 50 years left in this expedition. How many times can I meet Zhou Ming in 50 years? The next time we meet, he should be a divine transformation realm cultivator. I also need to prepare for my seclusion to reach the divine transformation realm. Humph. I can't lose to him. Next time, don't even think about withstanding my kick so easily. And, the Yuanyao Jade. I must defeat him fair and square and take it back. Humph. I don't want to marry him. However, when she thought of the jade slip she used to defile herself, Bei Xiaoman's face immediately turned red and she spat angrily. This Zhou Ming is really shameless. With how shameless he is, he can't possibly be looking at the recording of the jade slip alone, right? He could see me moaning and groaning while he touched himself hungrily. Zhou Ming. If you dare to use my recording to touch yourself, I'll fight you to the death. Bei Xiaoman felt a chill down her spine. The wind of the outer sea blew and the cultivators forgot the passage of time. It had been more than 10 years since he left Yu country. Ning Fan held the female corpse in his arms while his other hand grabbed old ancestor Yu Long like he was carrying a chick. Then, he treaded on the waves and traveled across the sky. The reason why he did not travel across the sky was because he wanted to collect some seawater into the Yuanya world. As the saying went, there can't be a world without water. Water was the source of all spirits. In the eastern part of the Yuanya world, Ning Fan had hollowed out the land within 30 million li and filled it with seawater, forming an ocean. In order to increase the spiritual nature of the ocean, he even snuck into the ocean and collected a lot of corals, reefs, sand, ocean and vegetation. Just like that, 2/3 of the Yuanya world had become the ocean. As he traveled from the east to the north, every time he came across a floating island, Ning Fan would seize the island without giving any explanation. Every time he arrived at an island, he would leave Yu Long behind and destroy half of the island with his sword, keeping it in the Yuanya world. His actions immediately angered countless forces in the external endless sea. Many nascent soul realm and gold core realm cultivators even chased after him. However, on the 11th island, after Ning Fan killed 11 nascent soul realm cultivators and 300 gold core realm cultivators, someone immediately recognized that the one who killed and destroyed the island was revered Ming, Zhou Ming. All the hunting orders were revoked almost at the same time. As for the forces in the external endless sea who offended Ning Fan, each of them trembled in fear. They were afraid that Ning Fan would come after them. Fortunately, Ning Fan was multitasking. He focused all of his attention on his journey and creating the world. He did not have the time to care about these little cats and dogs at all. As such, all the floating islands that were on Ning Fan's path would move their sects away, leaving half of the island for Ning Fan to take. This also saved Ning Fan a lot of time. Whenever he descended on an island, he would directly destroy it with his sword and take the island away. Nearly 100 floating islands along the way were kept by Ning Fan in the Yuanya world. 1/3 of the land in the west began to have mountains and rivers. Mountains, rivers and oceans were formed. This wasteland began to show signs of life. On the land of mountains and rivers, 4,999 formation eyes were drawn. Each formation eye was filled with 4,999 pieces of immortal jade. Nearly 25 million immortal jade were used to set up a peak divine transformation realm formation. Here, I will explain the formation in detail. Formations below 10 formation eyes are spirit realm grand formations. 10 to 100 formation eyes are core realm grand formations. 100 to 1000 formation eyes are nascent realm grand formations. 1000 to 5000 formation eyes are divine transformation realm grand formations. 5000 to 10,000 are mortal void realm grand formations. 10,000 to 99999 are immortal void realm grand formations. When a formation reaches the divine transformation realm, there is a limit to the number of immortal jade that can be filled in the formation eyes. Each formation eye needs to be filled with at least several immortal jade. Mortal void realm grand formations need to be filled with 10 times more immortal jade. Immortal void realm grand formations are no longer as simple as activating them with immortal jade. This peak divine transformation realm grand formation is called mountain and sea formation. It is already at the peak of the extreme transformation realm. There are 4,999 formation eyes. If each formation eye is filled with 4,999 immortal jade, it would cost nearly 25 million immortal jade. If he were to set up a mortal void realm grand formation, mountain and river reverse, he would need at least 500 million immortal jade to set up more than 7,000 formation eyes. The grand formation that he used to destroy the Heaven Beast sect was just in shape. He did not have enough immortal jade to activate it. Even so, it still caused the Heaven Beast sect to suffer a great loss and blood flowed like a river. If a divine transformation realm cultivator is drawn into the Yuanya world by setting up a peak divine transformation realm grand formation, he would most likely be injured by the formation even if he had a formation breaking treasure. Let's not talk about it anymore. Other than setting up the formation, Ning Fan had also planted magic treasures in the pitch-black night sky of the Yuanya world. Every time he went to an island, he would seize all the supreme-grade magic treasures and place them in the night sky. Each of the magic treasures was like starlight. After Ning Fan seized all the islands, there were hundreds of bright stars in the night sky. As long as Ning Fan activated his magic power, he could activate hundreds of magic treasures and stars to attack the people who enter the realm. Even a divine transformation realm cultivator would suffer some setbacks from the attacks of hundreds of nascent soul realm cultivators. Heaven and earth, air and wind were created. This Yuanya world was made into a killing realm by Ning Fan. With this realm, as long as a cultivator is brought into the realm, Ning Fan would have 30% confidence to kill him even if he is an early divine transformation realm cultivator. In that case, even if the female corpse loses control and the stone warrior betrays him, Ning Fan would still have the power to fight against a divine transformation realm cultivator. The Pleasure Devil Sea is not far away now. Black snow began to fall from the sky. Master, the pleasure devil sea is 1,000,000 li away from us. In this sea, do not easily spread your spirit sense. Even if you do, don't spread it too far. Otherwise, you will definitely be injured by the magnetic force of the spiritual mind. Magnetic force, huh? I understand. The magnetic force was a special ability formed by the fusion of the primordial chi of heaven and earth and the spiritual mind. With the magnetic force, one could cultivate the divine light of metamagnet. If one cultivates the divine light of metamagnet to its peak, it would be the legendary true immortal ability, five-colored divine light. The divine transformation realm old ancestor of the pleasure devil sect, Su Russian. This person was the cultivator of the divine light of metamagnet. Even among the 13 divine transformation realm cultivators in the external endless sea, this person's technique was ranked at the top. Su Russian, while Ning Fan was muttering to himself, his eyes suddenly turned cold. In the midst of the black snowstorm, there was a thick smell of blood. Ning Fan's eyes moved. That woman looks a little familiar. Oh right, it's her. In the midst of the black snow, a group of green-robed female cultivators were panting. Each of them had severe injuries. There were more than 30 female cultivators in this group. All of them were beautiful and their cultivation bases were not weak. The weakest among them was an early gold core realm cultivator. Moreover, there were 3 nascent soul realm females among them. The one in the middle wore a green palace dress and was an early nascent soul realm cultivator. She seemed to have been severely poisoned. Her pretty face was pale and her cherry lips were purplish-black. The 2 females beside her were slightly older. They were mid-nascent soul realm cultivators. They were the guest elders of this sect. This group of females was not weak in the external endless sea. However, at this moment, they were surrounded by 5 bald men with hideous smiles. Among the 5 of them, 4 of them were mid-nascent soul realm cultivators while the bald old monk who led them was a late nascent soul realm cultivator. The 5 of them had protruding temples. They were dressed in black monk robes. Some of them were fat and some of them were skinny. Each of them held a black Buddhist treasure in their hands and stepped on a black cloud. Each of them was filled with evil chi. Especially the old monk who was fat. From afar, he looked like a mountain of meat. His eyes shone with evil light as he glanced at the group of females. Eventually, his gaze fell on the woman in the middle and he licked his lips. Sect Master Bai Yao, Su Yao. He. Why didn't you stay in the sect? Why did you come to this pleasure devil sea? He. This is not a place where women like you should come to. Don't you know that the women of this sea are only human cauldrons? Humph. Who are you? You know that I am the sect master of one of the 10 sections. How dare you, poison me? Su Yao's pale face gradually turned red and her body became weak. The faces of the 2 mid-nascent soul realm guest elders immediately turned pale. They recognized the poison that Su Yao used. Falling chastity powder. If a nascent soul realm female cultivator asks a single strand of it, she will lose all her strength and be at the mercy of the enemy. Only the Black Buddha sect of the internal sea has it. You devils are actually from the Black Buddha sect of the internal sea. That's right. I am the 9th elder of the Black Buddha sect, Miu Yen. You virgins are all in my hands. He. None of you will be able to escape. The 10 sects of the external sea are nothing in the eyes of my Black Buddha sect. I am here to buy a divine transformation realm human cauldron. Unexpectedly, he. Before entering the pleasure devil sect, I have already caught a group of human cauldrons. The old monk took out a black gold magical bell and shook it lightly. Immediately, the surrounding black sand rolled. All the women who breathed in the black sand were immediately burned with lust. The black sand had an obvious purpose. It was to extract the essence sacs of nascent soul realm sea demons to dry them and grind them into powder. Although it was not as domineering as the falling chastity powder, it was enough to kill all the women below the nascent soul realm. Almost as soon as the black sand appeared, all the female cultivators except for the two mid-nascent soul realm elders were poisoned by the lust poison and lost their combat strength. The Black Buddha sect cultivated the joy Zen and had countless secret techniques. It was easy for them to deal with women. Although the two elders were not poisoned, their escape route was blocked by the sandstorm and they could not escape at all. The old monk's eyes were filled with mockery as if he was a cat toying with a mouse. What he loved the most was to see a woman throw herself into his arms despite knowing that he was the enemy. Su Yao's face was filled with despair. She gradually felt that her lower body was sticky and slippery. Originally, she wanted to buy a nascent soul realm Dao fruit in the Pleasure Devil Sea to prepare for her sister In Suchio's nascent soul formation. Although the Pleasure Devil Sea was a place where devil cultivators ran rampant, most of the cultivators from the outer Endless Sea did not dare to make a move on the female cultivators from the Green Jade Immortal Island. However, the cultivators from the inner Endless Sea were different. In the eyes of the cultivators from the inner Endless Sea, the 10 sects and 3 islands were just ordinary forces. Su Yao did not expect that there would be a spirit-severing cauldron for sale in the Pleasure Devil auction this time. This cauldron had even attracted many devils from the inner Endless Sea. These people were unscrupulous and they were not afraid of the prestige of the Green Jade Immortal Island at all. Damn it! If I were to be humiliated by this perverted monk, I would rather die. Su Yao's eyes were filled with misery. The difference in cultivation between a late nascent soul realm cultivator and a middle nascent soul realm cultivator was like heaven and earth. Not to mention that they were poisoned by the lust poison and that they had a technique to restrain women, even if they did not. Su Yao and the others were definitely not a match for these 5 devils. However, just when she was about to draw her sword and commit suicide, a shocking aura dispersed the black sand that was thousands of miles away. In front of that aura, Mi Lian and the other 4 devil monks were not even considered as ants. Under this aura, the primordial chi of the heaven and earth shook. Mi Lian felt as if her chest was hit by a heavy blow and she retreated dozens of steps before she could stabilize her body. However, the other 4 monks felt a pain in their chest and spurted out black blood. Mi Lian forced herself to calm down. However, she was already extremely afraid of the person who came because she had never met him before. This aura was extremely strong. However, what made Mi Lian even more afraid was that there was a trace of evil chi within the aura that did not dissipate and was glowing with red light. How many nascent soul realm cultivators had to be killed to accumulate such a heavy evil chi? Who is it? How dare you obstruct the business of my Black Buddha sect in the inner Endless Sea? Don't you want to live anymore? Don't you know that the sect master of my Black Buddha sect is a middle spirit severing realm cultivator? Mi Lian gritted her teeth and said. Zhou Ming, a young man in white clothes and black cloak, slowly appeared. Behind him was the female corpse and Yulong. When she saw the person who came, Su Yao, who was originally in despair, immediately revealed a look of disbelief. She had seen this person before. She had heard of this name for a long time. It's you. How could it be? It's really you. This young man was the man who sent In Suchio to the Green Jade Immortal Island that day. However, Su Yao could not understand. When she met Ning Fan that day, she thought that he was a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. However, In Suchio told her that he was a harmonious spirit realm cultivator. Harmonious spirit realm. However, the aura of the young man in front of her was obviously more terrifying than a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. If In Suchio did not lie, then it meant that 10 years had passed since this person sent In Suchio to the island. This person had cultivated from a harmonious spirit realm cultivator to a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. If what he said was true. Not only was he strong enough to fight against a peak nascent soul realm cultivator, he was even invincible below the spirit severing realm. If he is really Zhou Ming. Why you? Su Yao was so shocked that she could not speak a word. Fairy Su Yao, it has been 10 years since we last met. You are still as elegant as before. How is Suqiu? When the young man who was as cold as ice talked about Suqiu, his eyes became warm and he smiled faintly. When this smile fell into the eyes of Su Yao, who was suffering from the aphrodisiac, it seemed to be more handsome than the smiles of all the men in the world. It made her heart tremble. Tender body is even more unbearable. Chapter 221. Zhou Ming. This name seemed familiar, but it was very unfamiliar. Surnamed Zhou, from the Zhou clan of the Inner Sea. That's not right. All the members of the Zhou clan have the emblem of the Thunder Beast clan on their robes. This person is not from the Zhou clan. He shouldn't be from the Internal Endless Sea. In that case, is he a great cultivator from the Outer Endless Sea? Mi Lian's mind raced, and when she confirmed that the great cultivator in front of her was only someone from the Outer Endless Sea, she felt relieved, and 90% of her original fear immediately dissipated. However, after dispelling the fear in her heart, with Mi Lian's late nascent soul cultivation base, under careful observation, she discovered that the magical energy waves of the young man in front of her was actually only 460 jia, which was lower than her 550 jia. So this person was only a late nascent soul cultivator. That terrifying aura and ferocious aura, was it just a disguise to scare people? I, Mi Lian, was actually scared by a kid whose magic power is lower than mine. A nascent soul cultivator from the outer sea, Humph, dared to come here to play tricks and meddle in the affairs of the Black Buddha sect. Did he not want to live anymore? A trace of gloom flashed across Mi Lian's fleshy face. Kid. I'm the 9th elder of the Black Buddha sect from the 72 islands of the Inner Sea, Mi Lian. You'd better not meddle in my business. You should know that in the Endless Sea, the worst thing you can't do is to do stupid things when you see injustice. If you offend me, given your late nascent soul cultivation, I have plenty of methods to crush you to death. Really? Ning Fan smiled coldly. Inwardly, he was slightly surprised. There was nothing to fear about this tantric lotus. However, there was a ferocious aura coming from this person. It was as if he had the might of a grand cultivator. Of course, even so, the dense lotus was not worth mentioning. However, the Black Buddha sect of the Inner Sea was quite unique. Seeing the cold smile on the young man's face, Mi Lian was secretly enraged. A mere nascent soul cultivator actually dared to put on an act in front of him. He was courting death. Get into formation and kill him. Yes. As soon as Mi Lian gave the order, the 4 black monks wiped the blood stains from the corners of their mouths. Each of them held a black formation plate in their hands and surrounded Ning Fan from all 4 corners. Then, they activated their magic power. Suddenly, a black formation mark that was 1,000 zhang wide extended in the sky with Ning Fan as the center. Ning Fan's eyes flashed, but he did not avoid it. This formation pattern was simple and profound. Legend has it that it was the sound of evil ghosts wailing. The formation light produced gusts of black wind. Each of the gusts of black wind would turn into black pythons that were as thick as the mouth of a bull. Tens of thousands of black pythons were sticking out their tongues and dripping with black saliva. All of them rushed towards Ning Fan to bite him. This array was laid out by 4 upper nascent soul level array discs. When stacked, it wasn't any weaker than a peak nascent soul level array. Furthermore, the black python was neither a python nor a venomous one. It was actually formed from the evil thoughts of the dead. Thus, even though the grade of this formation wasn't high, even great cultivators weren't willing to be trapped in it. Once they were captured by the evil thoughts, their bodies wouldn't be injured, but their Tao hearts would be tainted. Inner demons would be born, and it was even possible for them to immediately go mad or even have their Tao hearts shattered. If one's Tao heart was shattered, even if they did not die, they would be severely injured. As soon as the formation was activated, Mi Lian sneered. If Ning Fan did not leave the range of the formation immediately, he would no longer have the chance to break free from it the moment the grand formation is activated unless he is a divine transformation realm expert. Zhou Ming, who had come to rescue them, was trapped in the formation as soon as they met. The two middle-stage nascent soul female cultivators of the Bai Yao sect immediately turned pale. And not good. This is the Black Buddha sect's mind confusion formation. It uses the evil thoughts of the corpses and evil spirits. Even great cultivators wouldn't be able to resist it. Let's not talk about whether this young man is really that crazy devil Zhou Ming. Even if he is, once he is trapped in this formation, he won't be able to resist the evil thoughts unless he has a spiritual treasure to protect himself. Even Bai Yao, who was poisoned by the lust poison, narrowed her beautiful eyes. She forced herself to stay upright, wishing that she could lift her sword to help Ning Fan. Her chivalrous heart was very similar to Yin Suqiu's. Brat! You can die in peace now that you're able to die in the mind confusion formation. Mi Lian burst into laughter. The fat on his tummy jiggled. However, at the next moment, he choked on his laughter. Facing the black pythons that were filled with evil thoughts, Ning Fan did not dodge them at all. He just sneered. The Earth star in his right eye suddenly flashed with black light. It was as if a vortex of star power was formed. The terrifying suction force sucked all the black pythons into his right eye. The originally pale yellow stars gradually turned dark and flickered with a sinister light. These evil thoughts can be used as nourishment for cultivating the three corpses pupil technique. However, it's still not enough. However, this mind confusion formation is not bad for condensing evil thoughts. I want this formation. At this moment, Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a cold light. He took a step forward and the silver light trembled. The force of this step was clearly stepping on the void, but it caused the surrounding heaven and earth to tremble. Under this step, the so-called 1000 Zhang formation light and the dense black formation marks immediately collapsed. As for the four nascent middle realm black monks who laid the formation, they immediately spurted out blood and retreated. Their faces were filled with shock. As for Mi Lian, he was completely stunned. The mind confusion formation of ghosts was actually broken by someone from the inside. That was evil thoughts. It could confuse one's mind and give birth to the evil thoughts in one's heart. An ordinary early nascent soul realm cultivator would lose his mind after being hit by a single evil black python. Even a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator would not be able to withstand 10 black pythons. A late nascent soul realm cultivator's Dao heart would definitely collapse when hundreds of black pythons entered his body. Even a peak nascent soul realm cultivator would only end up in madness if thousands of pythons attacked his body. However, this extremely terrifying evil thoughts were completely devoured by the young man. This grand formation that was comparable to the peak nascent soul realm was actually shattered by this man's step. There's no mistake. The force of that step was definitely not weaker than the fourth realm of the Silver Bone realm. It could even be the peak Silver Bone realm. There's actually such a terrifying body refinement expert in the external Endless Sea. Could this man be a talented junior that the giant devil clan planted in the Pleasure Devil Sea? Mi Lian's mind was greatly shaken. But at the next moment, a sense of life and death crisis surged into her heart, causing her hair to stand on end. After shattering the formation light, Ning Fan closed his eyes slightly. When he opened them again, his aura was indifferent and boundless. At this moment, Ning Fan was like an immortal ancient sword that was hanging in the sky. When he took a step forward, the great force of heaven and earth within 1,000 li was drawn and turned into sword light, slashing towards Mi Lian and the others. Being caught off guard, Mi Lian spurted out a mouthful of blood. He had already suffered a serious injury. Mi Lian's eyes twitched. What kind of sword technique is this? When he took a step forward, the great force turned into a sword. It seemed like only the divine transformation realm cultivators of the Sword Island of the Internal Sea could master such a sword technique. Could it be that this man is not a member of the giant devil clan but a member of the Sword Island? When he thought of the two words Sword Island, Mi Lian felt a chill run down his spine. However, before he could think about it, Ning Fan had already taken the second step. His body was like a shadow. After taking the third and fourth step, he had already taken the fifth step. When he took the first step, Mi Lian's expression changed drastically. He opened his mouth and spat out a black relic. It was a protective treasure that he had condensed using a secret technique of the Buddha sect. However, under the sword chi of the fifth step, the relic that was strong enough to withstand a strike from a nascent soul realm expert was shattered. The remaining force even caused Mi Lian to spurt out a mouthful of blood. As for the four mid-nascent soul realm black monks who were standing at the four corners of the hall, their physical bodies turned into mists of blood. As their physical bodies were destroyed, the four nascent soul realm monks who had pale faces were filled with fear. The young man in front of them did not use any magic power. He was just using his powerful magic power to turn the great force into a sword, and it was already so powerful. Is he a divine transformation realm expert? Apart from divine transformation realm experts, who else could have such a technique? Run! No matter how foolish Mi Lian was, he knew that Ning Fan was not someone he could mess with. It was also because he had just arrived at the external endless sea and did not know about Zhou Ming's power. If he knew about Zhou Ming's name, he would probably have run away a long time ago. However, Ning Fan's speed was even faster. The sixth step, wind movement. The seventh step, snow melting. The eighth step, sea roll. The ninth step, sword collapse. The 9 steps of heaven treading 9 steps were like a sword. As the sword chi spread out, the black snow within 1,000 li radius was swept away. This was the sword of great force. The might of a single sword strike killed the 4 nascent soul realm experts. Mi Lian's plump physical body and his nascent soul were shattered. However, when his physical body was destroyed, a black shadow escaped in a panic. It was a black nascent soul. This nascent soul had the same appearance as Mi Lian. However, Ning Fan had already destroyed one of his nascent souls. A second nascent soul, huh? Interesting. The people of the Black Buddha sect of the Internal Sea must be proficient in this secret technique. However, the number of nascent soul realm experts in this world doesn't necessarily mean that their magic techniques are powerful. Freeze. A finger, freeze the body. Mi Lian's nascent soul that was escaping in a panic was caught by Ning Fan with a flick of his sleeve. The small face of the nascent soul realm expert was filled with fear. However, it could not escape from Ning Fan's palm. He was a late nascent soul realm expert, but his second nascent soul realm expert had already cultivated to the peak nascent soul realm. Even peak nascent soul realm experts would not be able to catch up to him. Mi Lian had never heard of such a technique before. You can't kill me. If you kill me, the divine transformation realm elders of my sect will certainly, noisy. Soul search. Ning Fan did not have the mood to talk nonsense with him at all. The reason why he wasted some time was because he was slightly interested in the chaotic minds of ghosts and the second nascent soul. This person's memories were not sealed by a powerful being like the eagle and the crane. It seemed like the foundation of the Black Buddha sect was far weaker than the demon sealing sect. After reading the memories, Ning Fan opened his mouth and swallowed, crushing the black infant. Then, he rolled his sleeve and 5 storage pouches went into his hand. Pills, magic treasures, immortal jade and even the chaotic minds of ghosts formation and the secret technique of the second nascent soul of the Black Buddha sect naturally fell into Ning Fan's hands. The so-called waste of time was just compared to Ning Fan's usual instantaneous killing. To Su Yao and the other women, the scene in front of them was already shocking enough. The vast sky was silent and the black snow did not stop falling. The young man who stood proudly in the snow had destroyed the grand formation and killed the 5 nascent souls in just a few breaths. 4 of them were mid-nascent soul realm experts, a late nascent soul realm expert and even a late nascent soul realm expert who had cultivated the second nascent soul of the peak nascent soul realm expert. However, they did not even have the chance to use their techniques before they were easily killed by the young man. Is this the Zhou Ming who has been spreading like wildfire in the external endless sea? The 2 guest elders of the Baiyao sect, Han Mu and Su Fei, were trembling. When Ning Fan's gaze swept across them, their trembling had reached its peak. It was not difficult for this man to kill the 2 of them. The so-called number 1 cultivator below the spirit-severing realm definitely lived up to his reputation. When they thought of the notorious reputation of this man, the 2 women became even more terrified. When Ning Fan approached them step by step, the 2 women hid behind Su Yao with an unnatural expression. Su Yao's face was as pale as a piece of paper. She endured the lust poison and bowed towards Ning Fan with great reluctance, but she did not lose her elegance. Thank you for saving us, fellow Taoist Zhou Ming. Fairy Su Yao is indeed worthy of being the master of a sect. Regardless of your cultivation realm, your aura is not weak at all. It's even stronger than the 2 women behind you. However, you don't have to thank me. I never save people for free. Do you understand? If he did not save them for free, he would have to ask for compensation. The only thing that could slightly move Ning Fan's heart was themselves. Ning Fan's eyes swept across the female cultivators and his heart was secretly moved. These 3 women were not only beautiful but also had extraordinary cultivation realm. All of them were excellent human cauldrons. If he plucked them, he could increase his magic power by 60 units. However, he used the mind-reading technique to pry into Su Yao's thoughts and found out that the reason why she risked her life to enter the Pleasure Devil Sea was to buy a Dao fruit for Yin Suqiu to form her nascent soul. This woman had good intentions towards Yin Suqiu and they had a close relationship. If that's the case, plucking this woman would go against his Dao heart. Is Suqiu going to form her nascent soul? Unfortunately, I don't have any Dao fruit with me. Otherwise, I could ask Su Yao to bring one to Suqiu. Su Yao's cheeks blushed slightly when Ning Fan's gaze swept across her. However, she still maintained her composure. As for the 2 women behind her, their hearts trembled with fear and anger. This man's gaze is so rude. Asking for compensation after saving people is even more shameless. However, when they thought of Zhou Ming's notorious reputation as a lecher, their gaze was not strange anymore. Even a fool would understand that Ning Fan's so-called compensation was probably because he wanted their nascent soul bodies. I understand fellow Taoist Zhou's intention. Su Yao has also heard of fellow Taoist's dissolute reputation. If it wasn't for fellow Taoist Zhou, all the women of my Baiyao sect would have lost their chastity and fall into the evil hands of the evil monk. Therefore, even if fellow Taoist insists on asking for compensation, it's not unreasonable. I just hope that fellow Taoist can let the other female disciples go. As the price, Su Yao is willing to replace everyone and become your human cauldron. Sect Master, you can't. The 2 female cultivators' faces immediately turned pale. Shut up. Pass down my order. From today onwards, I'm no longer the sect master of Baiyao sect. I'm just fellow Taoist Zhou's human cauldron. As for the position of sect master, if Elder Yin Suqiu successfully forms her nascent soul, she will be appointed as the next sect master. Su Yao endured the lust poison and said seriously. In her opinion, with Ning Fan's strength, it would be a piece of cake for him to control the women. Although it was ungentlemanly for him to ask for compensation after saving people, it wasn't wrong. Why couldn't she ask for compensation after saving people? She might as well be poisoned by the lust poison. If she doesn't have intercourse with a man, it would be difficult for her to escape death. When she was poisoned by the lust poison, she already knew that she was going to die. If she could use her purity and cultivation realm to exchange for the purity and lives of the other female disciples from Ning Fan's hands, she would finally have some value. After being plucked by Ning Fan, it would be enough for her to die. It could also be considered as a life where she could roam freely without leaving any stain. Su Yao was different from In Suchio. In Suchio was sometimes impulsive, but Su Yao was always quiet and quiet. However, the thing that she had in common with In Suchio was the chivalrous heart of sacrificing herself for others. Even if she couldn't bear to lose her purity, it would still be a blessing if she could save the women from Zhou Ming's evil claws. She didn't expect Zhou Ming to let her go for In Suchio's sake. The human heart was the most difficult thing to predict, and Zhou Ming's notoriety was indeed too great. Would he really let go of the great human cauldron in front of him for a woman? Moreover, Su Yao didn't have much confidence that Ning Fan would let go of the other women just because of her. However, all of her thoughts were calm on her face. She was pale and quiet. However, in her delicate state, her majesty was inviolable. Is this the demeanor of a sect master? Ning Fan nodded silently. This woman was indeed In Suchio and In Suchio. There weren't many women with such heroic spirit in the Rain world. Sacrificing oneself for others and persisting in the righteous path. It was easy to say but difficult to do. Even though Ning Fan coveted the nascent soul realm female cultivators of the Green Jade Immortal Island, he wouldn't go so far as to pluck all of Su Yao's cultivation realm for a mere 20 units of magic power and make Suchio sad. Even if he does accept Su Yao, she probably wouldn't be a human cauldron. Su Yao endured humiliation and offered herself as a human cauldron just to save the disciples of her sect. Such a chivalrous heart was rare in this cold and indifferent cultivation world. She was obviously suffering from the lust poison, but she still pretended to be calm. This kind of stubbornness was very similar to In Suchio. They were indeed good sisters. Ning Fan ignored the hypocrites of the righteous path, but he still respected those who truly persisted in the righteous path. At least, he knew that he couldn't do something like wholeheartedly serving others. His heart was too selfish. Since Fairy Su Yao is willing to be my human cauldron, I naturally won't refuse. Whoever can marry someone like Fairy Su Yao would be lucky for 3 lifetimes. Ning Fan smiled faintly. Su Yao secretly scolded him for being frivolous, but her expression didn't show any anger. Is that so? Then, are you willing to let the others go? Of course I will let them go. As for plucking Fairy Su Yao, let's leave it for next time. Disperse. Ning Fan withdrew his smile and waved his sleeve. A vast amount of primordial force was extracted from heaven and earth and went into the bodies of the 30+ gold core realm female cultivators. With a tremble, the black sand was forced out. Then, a gray light flashed. He took a step forward and teleported to the front of Su Yao, holding her slender waist. When Su Yao saw Ning Fan detoxifying the poison of the female gold core realm disciples, she felt relieved. In this way, her innocence was exchanged for the lives of her disciples. However, before she could express her gratitude, Ning Fan had already approached her. When Ning Fan's arm moved and held her slender waist, Su Yao's body immediately tensed up. She let out a soft moan and the lust poison that she had painstakingly suppressed poured out. Her lower body was already covered in mud. She thought that Ning Fan was probably going to take advantage of her. What she was most afraid of was that Ning Fan would humiliate and play with her under the watchful eyes of the public. If that happened, the last trace of her dignity would probably be violated. However, she did not resist. This was her personality. Even if she was unwilling, she knew that she could not resist. However, what surprised Su Yao was that Ning Fan did not do anything else after hugging her. He just circulated his finger force and touched her soft waist to seal the flow of the lust poison. Su Yao had never seen such a high level of medical skill in her life. Perhaps even the 4th Revolution pill refinement masters in the sect could not be compared to him in terms of massaging. Fellow Taoist Zhou, are you thinking of doing it here with me? In the end, Su Yao could not bring herself to say the words "do it with me." However, after her meridians were sealed by Ning Fan, the lust poison was no longer under her control. She instantly felt at ease. Fairy Sue's poison has been temporarily sealed by me. However, this poison is extremely domineering. It can only be detoxified with some special methods. If Fairy Sue is willing, why don't you come to the Joyful Union Immortal Island and stay there for a while? Then, you can look for me to detoxify the poison for you. For now, I hope that Fairy Sue can lead the way and bring the disciples of your sect to the Joyful Union Immortal Island. As for me, I still have some small matters to deal with. I will go to the Joyful Union Immortal Island later and meet you there. Yes. Su Yao pursed her lips. It was already a good thing that she did not have to be plucked by Ning Fan in the monstrous waves. However, if she knew that Ning Fan could have let her go, but she had misunderstood Ning Fan's character. That was why she recommended herself to sleep with him. If she knew about it, how ashamed would she be? She would never know if she did not know about it. However, just the gratitude of saving her life and detoxifying the poison were 2 times. From a moral point of view, even if she were to repay him with her body, it would also be in line with morality. Even if she was unwilling, Ning Fan turned his body to the side and made way for the ladies. At that moment, the 2 elders and female cultivators secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Initially, they thought that Ning Fan's appearance would lure the tiger to kill the wolf. Now, it seemed like this tiger only had his eyes on Su Yao and let the 2 of them go. The 2 ladies felt ashamed and grateful towards Su Yao for sacrificing herself to save them. As for Ning Fan, they were filled with fear and criticism. The female corpse remained silent from the beginning to the end. Her eyes were fixed on Ning Fan alone. As for Yulong, his horizons were broadened once again. After becoming Ning Fan's servant, he was filled with admiration towards his master. He killed the 5 nascent souls with just a wave of his hand. Moreover, the 5 nascent souls were the devils of the internal endless sea. Moreover, that cauldron was the sect master of the Bai Yao sect, one of the 10 sects and 3 islands. She was a respected figure in the external endless sea. Her beauty was like a painting that countless men admired but could not see. His heart was filled with admiration. Inwardly, he was thinking if he should flatter Ning Fan a little. However, before he could finish his words, Ning Fan's voice interrupted his thoughts. Yulong, you are familiar with the sea route. Bring the fairies of the Bai Yao sect to the Pleasure Union Immortal Island. If anyone dares to block the way again, tell them that they are my women. This item contains a trace of my qi. If there are cultivators of the internal endless sea who don't know me and block the way, just crush this jade and I will know. Yes, yes. This old servant will definitely complete the mission with honor. After receiving the jade pendant, Yulong led the ladies away respectfully. He did not ask what Ning Fan was going to do by staying behind. As for Su Yao, she was inwardly grateful to Ning Fan for sending people to escort them. With this trace of qi and Zhou Ming's prestige, the cultivators of the external endless sea were nothing to worry about. As for the cultivators of the internal endless sea, they would probably be wary after sensing his qi. She realized that Ning Fan's character did not seem to be as bad as what the rumors said. This person might have countless women, but he seemed to be extremely protective of the women he loves and was not fickle in love. Su Yao could not help but recall the day when she first met Ning Fan. This person was covered in mermaid blood and was severely injured. Yet, he escorted Yin Suqiu to the Bai Yao Immortal Island. This person might be fickle in love, but he might also be unexpectedly devoted to one's love. However, if Ning Fan is really devoted to one's love, he would probably not pluck the ladies for the sake of Yin Suqiu and saving her. It seems like I have overthought it. Is it unnecessary to recommend myself as a human cauldron? In other words, even if I don't offer my body, I can still ensure the safety of the ladies. However, I self-righteously offered my body to him. Su Yao pursed her lips and her cheeks flushed red. In other words, even if Ning Fan really plucked me, it was because I was willing, and he did not force me. How could I do such a stupid thing? I wonder if he has another method to cure me of the poison, or he just wanted to have sex with me. For a moment, Su Yao was worried about her gains and losses. She felt annoyed, but she did not scold Ning Fan secretly. He saved me twice. He doesn't owe me anything. Sect master, let's leave now and hide in the sect for a while. With the old ancestor's protection, no matter how strong Zhou Ming is, he won't dare to come and cause trouble, but I have already promised him. Besides, I still need to buy a Dao fruit for little sister Suqiu. There is no antidote for this falling chastity powder. Perhaps, my life will be taken by him. Su Yao spoke incoherently and her mind was in a mess, but she did not run away. If she was afraid, she would not have come to the Pleasure Devil Sea. After the ladies left, Ning Fan held the female corpse and stood in the black snow. When Su Yao and the others were nowhere to be seen, Ning Fan raised his brows and looked at a certain black cloud in the sky. His eyes flashed with cold light. Still not coming out. Are you forcing me to make a move? Hee hee. Fellow Taoist Zhou Ming, you have such sharp insight. Extraordinary, extraordinary. This old man, Su Russian, greets fellow Taoist Zhou Ming. The black cloud shattered. A black-robed old man slowly appeared. The moment this person appeared, the heavenly primordial energy shattered, the sea waves rumbled and the black snow rolled. The old ancestor of the Pleasure Devil sect, Su Russian. This person was actually lying in wait. Fellow Taoist Su, do you want to become my enemy? Ning Fan said coldly. Hee hee. As expected of the #1 expert below the spirit-severing realm. Seeing you and hearing your reputation, fellow Taoist, is indeed worth it. This old man will try to rope you in. This old man has a request. If you can fulfill it, this old man will give fellow Taoist 50 drops of Mother Earth nether milk. 50 drops was equivalent to 500 units of magic power. Even Ning Fan could not help but be tempted. Chapter 222. The black clouds dispersed, revealing an old man in black robes. His hair was as white as silver and he was bony. However, his body carried a heavy aura. It was not sharp, but it was as heavy as a mountain. It was as if he could shatter the heavens and the earth with just a punch or a finger. His old eyes that were supposed to be cloudy were as sharp as an eagle's. On his glabella, half an illusory black star shone faintly. Just by standing there, he had a kind of natural Tao aura. A trace of magnetic force caused the magnetic force in the deep sea mine to become chaotic. That magnetic force pierced into Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. Even if it was not intentional, it still caused his spirit sense to feel a slight pain. Early Divine Transformation Realm. Su Russian. Ning Fan's expression was as calm as still water. This person gave him an extremely strong sense of pressure. It was as if the person standing in front of him was not a person but a mountain. The power that pierced his spirit sense was clearly the magnetic force. It was extremely extraordinary. It was because the half-black star on his glabella was extremely similar to the immemorial devil star. This person did not possess the immemorial divine devil veins, but he had condensed half of the immemorial devil star. Even if it was just half, it was enough to prove that this person was extremely talented. Ning Fan pondered about the purpose of this person's visit without any fear. This Su Russian was indeed powerful. His strength alone was enough to defeat all nascent soul realm cultivators in the external endless sea. In terms of aura force, he was much stronger than the inanimate stone warrior. Of course, this person's strength should be on par with the stone warrior. His aura force was still external and his strength was still weaker than the female corpse. Even if Ning Fan fought him alone with the help of the Yuanya world, he had a 30% chance of killing this person. Of course, the probability of dying in his hands was not low either. A nascent soul realm cultivator against a divine transformation realm cultivator would either win or die. 30% chance of winning and 70% chance of dying. Starting from the late nascent soul realm, every step forward would be a world of difference. As for Su Rushan, he was an existence that was one level higher than Ning Fan. This person came to look for him with a strange attitude. He asked for a favor and promised to give him 50 drops of Mother Earth nether milk. With 500 units of magic power, Ning Fan could even try to break through the bottleneck of the peak nascent soul realm and truly step into the grand cultivation realm. As for this person who was a divine transformation realm cultivator, if he did not know that Ning Fan was a 5th revolution pill master, then he must have come for the secret realm of the broken world. Only the secret realm of the broken world was worth it for him to use his divine transformation realm cultivation base. It was because divine transformation realm experts were not allowed to enter this secret realm. As the strongest expert below the divine transformation realm, Ning Fan was the most reliable force he could rely on. However, this Su Rushan had been hiding here for quite a long time. He should have appeared when Su Yao and the others were in danger. After all, as one of the 10 sects of the Outer Endless Sea, he wouldn't let the Biao sect leader be humiliated in the Pleasure Devil Ocean. However, Ning Fan's appearance had dispelled his original intention of saving them. There were 2 reasons why he did not immediately help Ning Fan and the others to eliminate the enemies. Firstly, it was to observe Ning Fan's strength to see if he had the qualifications to rope him in. Secondly, he wanted to borrow Ning Fan's hands to kill someone. Because of this, Ning Fan had to bear the great enemy of the Black Buddha sect. After searching through the Lotus memories, Ning Fan found out that a certain spirit-severing realm old monster of the Black Buddha sect would come to the Pleasure Devil Sea in a few days' time. It was for the so-called spirit-severing realm cauldron auction. This matter was extremely secretive. Only sects like the Black Buddha sect were qualified to know about it. Moreover, before Ning Fan came here, he did not even know about the existence of a good item like the spirit-severing realm cauldron. What he needed to pay attention to was that the spirit-severing realm expert of the Black Buddha sect who came late would most likely come back to seek trouble after knowing that the experts of his sect had been killed. Su Rushan probably wanted to use the threat of the Black Buddha sect to threaten him. The so-called request of this person was actually just a form of coercion and temptation. Oh. Senior Su has something to ask of me. May I know what it is? I would be happy to listen to it. Ning Fan smiled and cupped his fists at Su Rushan with a calm expression. Su Rushan's expression remained the same. However, he secretly took a deep breath. This Zhou Ming is really calm. Facing the pressure of my spirit-severing realm and the magnetic force, he is actually so calm. One should know that other peak nascent soul realm experts could not even calm their minds when they are 3,000 zhang away from Su Rushan. However, this Zhou Ming was calm and composed when he was 500 zhang away from him. Judging from this, the title of the strongest person below the spirit-severing realm was indeed well-deserved. The more Su Rushan looked at Ning Fan, the more he felt incredulous. From Ning Fan's body, he could sense demon blood, corpse qi, devil qi, sword qi, and many other kinds of qi. From this, it seemed that this person had learned a lot of different things. Among the different kinds of qi, there seemed to be a few that gave Su Rushan a sense of danger. In other words, the Ning Fan in front of him seemed to be harmless, but in reality, he could even hurt him if he went all out. If that was the case, it was understandable that he was not afraid of Su Rushan. Su Rushan's expression did not change. With a probing heart, he stepped on the air step by step, closing the distance between him and Ning Fan. 400 zhang, 300 zhang. When he was only 300 zhang away from Ning Fan, Su Rushan stopped and his eyes turned cold. Being so close to Ning Fan, his aura force fell on Ning Fan's body without any reservation. However, Ning Fan did not even bat an eyelid and still had a calm smile on his face. On the contrary, the closer Su Rushan got to Ning Fan, the stronger the sense of danger he felt. Moreover, an absurd feeling rose in his heart. If he was 10 zhang closer to Ning Fan, he was afraid that his life would be in danger. Hiss. Not only does this man have the means to hurt me, but he also has the means to kill me. Su Rushan slowly withdrew his aura force. His eyes were solemn. At this moment, he no longer had a trace of arrogance towards Ning Fan. It was as if he was looking at someone of the same generation. He cupped his fists at Ning Fan and replied. Fellow Taoist Zhou, good composure. Good technique. Only spirit-severing realm cultivators could make him cup his fists. Below spirit-severing realm, Ning Fan was the first one. Hee. Senior Su is too courteous. You haven't answered my question yet. May I know what is Senior's request? Could it be related to the secret realm of the broken world? This is a secret. Fellow Taoist Zhou, please dismiss the irrelevant people first. Su Rushan glanced at the female corpse and shook his head. This woman did not have any trace of magic power, but she could step on the air. It was a little strange, but she was most likely Ning Fan's concubine. A mere woman should not listen to a man's discussion. She is not an outsider. I have already dismissed the outsiders. Ning Fan's smile did not diminish. Su Yao and Yu Long, who he had met a few times, were outsiders, but the female corpse was not. If that's the case, I won't be shy anymore. Why don't you come to my heavenly dwelling magical treasure and have a chat? Su Rushan took out a palm-sized golden house and gave it a pat. That golden house expanded in the wind. He gestured for Ning Fan to enter, but Ning Fan shook his head. Let's talk here. If anyone tries to eavesdrop, just kill them. Su Rushan's expression did not change. He chuckled and kept the golden house. His heart, however, was filled with astonishment for 3 times. The first astonishment was that a nascent soul realm cultivator like Ning Fan was not surprised to see a heavenly dwelling magical treasure. One should know that this treasure was not something that ordinary spirit-severing realm cultivators could possess. It was given to him by Venerable Giant. The second astonishment was that Ning Fan had such a strong vigilance. He actually did not enter the heavenly dwelling magical treasure of others. Moreover, he seemed to have a deep understanding of the heavenly dwelling magical treasure and knew that it could be used to set up a formation to attack the enemy. The third astonishment was that Ning Fan's words were filled with dense killing intent. He was a cultivator who had experienced the blood sea and was decisive in killing. With such strength and temperament, he would most likely succeed if I entrust this matter to him. Sigh. It seems like I can only entrust this matter to him. Otherwise, I won't be able to gather 200 wild beast demon cores even if I kill him. Venerable Giant is desperately urging me. Su Rushan and Ning Fan did not talk much. However, after probing, observing and analyzing Ning Fan's actions, he had a basic understanding of Ning Fan's character and strength. He hesitated for a moment. Then, he patted his storage pouch and took out a dark golden jade slip. There were 3 golden patterns carved on the jade slip. One of them had already been broken. This golden pattern was called Jade Slip Fragment Pattern. It was used to prevent others from peeking into the jade slip. Not even spirit-severing realm cultivators could break this golden pattern. 3 golden patterns meant that this jade slip could only be read 3 times. After 3 times, the golden patterns were all gone and the jade slip was broken. Since one of them had already been broken, it was naturally Su Rushan who read it. Other than Su Rushan, no one else had read it before. It was enough to show how precious this jade slip was. Moreover, Ning Fan could faintly smell a trace of devil chi from the jade slip. Just a trace of it was enough to cause Ning Fan's completely stabilized nascent soul to crumble. The cultivator who carved this jade slip had such a strong devil chi. At least in the endless outer sea, Ning Fan had never seen any cultivator who had such terrifying devil chi. He did not take the jade slip immediately. Instead, he shook his head. Obviously, he knew that this jade slip was related to a significant matter. Once he read it, he would not be able to erase the responsibility regardless of whether he agreed to Su Rushan's request or not. Senior, please tell me about this matter first. Otherwise, this matter is of great importance. I dare not be reckless. Oh. Fellow Taoist, being so cautious is enough to show that you are a person who can entrust important matters to me. Sigh. To tell you the truth, this matter is indeed related to the secret realm of the broken world. Speaking of which, it is just to hunt for the demon cores of wild beasts. But. Sigh. The number of demon cores to be hunted is really a little too big, and the deadline is really too rushed. Number. Deadline? Ning Fan muttered to himself. If the matter that Su Rushan asked him to do was to hunt for demon cores, there was no need for him to go through so much trouble. What kind of huge number would make Su Rushan lose his composure like that? The secret realm of the broken world opens once every 50 years. Every time it opens, 40 people can enter, and it can last for a year to allow cultivators to enter and hunt for demon cores. This time, due to the urgency of the situation, the secret realm is forced to open half a year in advance. Thus, the secret realm is not stable and it can only last for half a year. Within half a year, I must gather 200 demon cores of wild beasts. If I may be so bold to ask, fellow Taoist, are you confident in killing 200 wild beasts within half a year? Half a year. 200 demon cores. Kill 200 wild beasts. Senior Su, you think too highly of me. Ning Fan's eyes finally flashed with a hint of surprise. He did not expect that Su Rushan would ask him to kill 200 wild beasts within half a year. Doesn't this mean that once I enter the secret realm of the broken world, I have to kill one wild beast that is comparable to a divine transformation realm expert every day? I'm afraid it's still not enough, killing 200 divine transformation realm experts. If Ning Fan had such strength, he would have already slaughtered his way into the eternal endless sea and become a lord instead of entering the secret realm of the broken world. Ning Fan remained silent for a while and did not express his opinion. Su Rushan, on the other hand, became a little anxious. He had finally witnessed Ning Fan's strength. He could even give him a sense of danger. It was definitely not an exaggeration to say that Ning Fan was the strongest person below the divine transformation realm. Ordinary peak nascent soul cultivators who could kill a wild beast before entering the secret realm were all experts. In the past, Su Rushan could only purchase around 10 demon cores from tens of peak nascent soul cultivators every time the secret realm was opened. However, this time, he must obtain 200 demon cores in one go. Otherwise, he would lose his life. Other than asking for Ning Fan's help, he really did not place any hope on anyone else. The other peak nascent soul cultivators, including the descendants of the 7 venerated beings of the internal sea, were not as strong as Ning Fan. As a divine transformation realm cultivator and the trusted aid of venerated giant, one of the 7 venerated beings of the internal sea, Su Rushan rarely lowered his head to others. Today, however, it was his first time smiling at someone. He. Fellow Taoist Zhou Ming, if you help me this time, I will owe you a great favor. If you are in trouble in the future, I will definitely come to your aid even if I have to climb a mountain of swords or go through a sea of flames. I can swear on my great heart devil oath for this. Moreover, if you accomplish this task, one of the 7 venerated beings of the internal sea will look favorably upon you. Even if you enter the internal sea, you will be considered to have a great backer. Of course, if you find it difficult to hunt 200 demon cores, I will think of other ways to hunt tens of demon cores from others. But at the very least, fellow Taoist needs to hunt 150 demon cores. As a reward, other than exchanging 1 drop of Mother Earth nether milk for each demon core, I will give fellow Taoist an additional 50 drops of nether milk. 200 drops of nether milk is equivalent to 2,000 units of magic power. With this nether milk, fellow Taoist can easily break through to the peak nascent soul realm. Ning Fan remained silent, but his eyes were burning with passion. He still needed to consider this matter carefully. Su Rushan might look humble when he asked for help, but if he agrees to help but fails to fulfill his promise, Su Rushan would probably go mad and vent his anger on him. Even if the number of 200 wild beasts was reduced to 150, it was still not a small number. Even though these wild beasts were just fake wild beasts and it was not difficult for Ning Fan to kill them individually, who knew if the wild beasts lived in groups in the secret realm? Perhaps he could occasionally hunt a lone beast. However, if he wants to hunt 200 of them, he would most likely encounter a group of wild beasts. A group of ferocious beasts that were comparable to divine transformation realm experts. Just the thought of it made his scalp tingle. If he could bring the stone warrior and the female corpse into the secret realm, it would be much easier. However, experts above the divine transformation realm could not enter the secret realm. Thus, he would probably have to rely on himself. Should he agree to it or reject it? If he rejects it, he would miss the opportunity to obtain more than 200 drops of nether milk. 200 drops of nether milk would be equivalent to 2,000 units of magic power. If he completes this task, he would be considered to have completed 1/5 of the path to the divine transformation realm. As for Su Rushan's favor. To be honest, Ning Fan really did not think that an early divine transformation realm cultivator's favor was valuable. While Ning Fan was thinking, the female corpse was quietly pulling the corner of her clothes while Su Rushan was feeling nervous. It would be great if he could enter the secret realm. It would not be difficult for him to kill the fake wild beasts. However, divine transformation realm cultivators could not enter the secret realm. It was rare for a divine transformation realm cultivator like him to appear in the endless sea in just a few thousand years. If he were to miss this opportunity and look for others, Su Rushan would not have the confidence. He was a divine transformation realm expert and one of the 13 experts of the external endless sea. However, in front of a venerated giant, he could easily destroy him with just a flick of his finger. I need to understand the habits, strength, and methods of the wild beasts first before I can confirm if I have the ability to kill 200 wild beasts. Before that, I would like to take a look at Senior Su's jade slip. Of course, even if I have seen it, I can't guarantee that I will definitely agree to it. Thus, it is up to Senior to decide whether to let me have a look at the jade slip. Blue veins twitched on Su Rushan's forehead. This Zhou Ming is really too indecisive. However, if he were to put himself in Ning Fan's shoes, he would probably be even more cautious and hesitant than Ning Fan. Take it. Remember, do not reveal the contents of the jade slip. Otherwise, even if you are a divine transformation realm cultivator, I will still hunt you down to the ends of the world. Senior, don't worry. My mouth is the most reliable. What a strong spirit sense. Ning Fan pressed the jade slip on his glabella and his eyes narrowed. As soon as he probed the jade slip, an incomparably ferocious spirit sense surged towards his face. Within this spirit sense, there was a domineering black spirit sense. The spirit sense was ferocious and masculine. As soon as it appeared, Ning Fan's nascent soul felt like it was about to collapse. His heart felt like it was being pressed down by Mount Tai. He took a few steps back while the blood and qi in his chest churned. However, he still couldn't get rid of the ferocious spirit sense. Rain intent flashed in his eyes. Within 1,000 li, the black snow stopped and light rain fell. Ning Fan stopped retreating. Divine rain intent. Su Rushan's eagle-like pupils shrank. On the 8th step, Ning Fan's divine rain intent had already dissolved the domineering spirit sense in the spirit sense. Su Rushan couldn't imagine that Ning Fan, who had yet to reach divine transformation realm, had already condensed a spirit sense. Moreover, he only took 8 steps back under the domineering spirit sense of the venerated giant. One should know that even Su Rushan was forced to take 7 steps back by the furious venerated giant's spirit sense when he first touched the jade slip. Moreover, Ning Fan himself only took 7 steps back because he had used his spirit sense to defend himself. This person really hid his strength well. If he released his spirit sense from the beginning, he would only take 3 steps back. If it was in the past, Su Rushan would probably want to dissect Ning Fan to find out his secrets. Now, he couldn't wait for Ning Fan to become stronger. The stronger he is, the greater the chance of success in obtaining demon cores from him. He remained silent and waited for Ning Fan to read the jade slip. As for Ning Fan, he frowned and remained silent after reading it. The person who imprinted the jade slip and the owner of the ferocious spirit sense was one of the 7 venerated beings of the Internal Sea, venerated giant Zhu Qing of the Giant Devil clan. The first sentence in the jade slip was a curse. Little Shan Zi, I'm telling you. Half a year. If you can't gather 200 demon cores to save my little Xueyan's life within half a year, I'll twist your head off. Feng Xueyan, the daughter of venerated giant of the Giant Devil clan, was suffering from an acute illness and she needed demon cores to save her life. As her illness worsened, she would need at least 200 demon cores this time. Venerated giant had given his order. If Su Rushan couldn't gather the demon cores by then, he would be prepared to lose his head. Chapter 223. If that's the case, fellow Taoist Zhou, once you've made up your mind, you can come to the island's blissful summit to look for me. As for this letter, it's my token. If you run into any trouble on the island, just show it to me. I'll wait for your reply in 3 days. Su Rushan sighed, clasped hands, and left. In the end, Ning Fan still did not decide to help him on the spot. Su Rushan admired Ning Fan's cautious attitude, but in other words, he also felt helpless about Ning Fan's evasive behavior. The only thing he could do now was to wait for Ning Fan to give him a definite answer. Before that, it was necessary to meet with the elders of the Pleasure Devil sect and make arrangements to entertain Zhou Ming. The black heavenly origin shook, and Su Rushan turned into a puff of black smoke that instantly flew thousands of miles away. This was a divine ability of the divine transformation realm, a teleportation technique that could allow one to travel 10,000 miles in an instant. Compared to teleportation, it was much more advanced. Ning Fan held the black jade token in his hand and remained silent. This was a matter of great importance. It would be unwise to make a careless promise. Even if he was willing to agree, it would be 3 days later. Not agreeing on the spot was to maximize the benefits. Just 50 drops of nether milk was too little. Ning Fan would like to see where Su Rushan's bottom line was in order to befriend him. After a long time, he kept the letter and held the female corpse in his arms. Then, he turned into a ray of black light and teleported to the Happiness Immortal Island. There were dozens of uninhabited islands in the Pleasure Devil Sea region. Ning Fan kept a few of them along the way into the Yuanya world. When they arrived at the Joyous Union Immortal Island, Yulong had already found a place to stay. He asked the ladies of the Bai Yao sect to rest while he waited outside the island for Ning Fan's arrival. Greetings, High Lord. Yulong's attitude was extremely respectful. He used to be a foreign minister of the Pleasure Devil sect, but he was ostracized by the sect. That was why he went to the Penglai Deity Island to join the Lost World Palace. Who would have thought that the moment he stepped foot on Joyous Union Island, he would be welcomed by a group of old monsters, including the vice sect leader. This welcome was ordered by Su Rushan. Although Yulong did not know why Su Rushan was so polite to him, it was not difficult to guess that Su Rushan was most likely trying to curry favor with his master, Zhou Ming. As for why Yulong wanted to curry favor with Lin Yun, that was not what he was concerned about. However, his reverence for Lin Yun gradually deepened. Moreover, the group was arranged to rest in the most luxurious palace on the island, Xian Chui Palace. If he wasn't Zhou Ming's slave, he, Yulong, would never be able to enjoy such treatment. Since the beginning of time, only grand cultivators lived in this palace. Have you found a place to rest? How are the women of the Baiyao sect? Ning Fan asked indifferently. Reporting to my lord, the women have been properly arranged and are resting in Xian Chui Palace. Does master want to rest there first or take a stroll around the island? Profound Jade Palace. I've heard that this palace of the Pleasure Devil sect only accommodates grand cultivators. Su Rushan is very thoughtful, but this is not enough to move me. Ning Fan muttered to himself. He took out a blank jade slip and imprinted it with his spirit sense. Then, he passed it to Yulong and instructed him. This jade slip contains 17 types of 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs that I need to concoct pills. Go to the island's Chinese medicine workshop and purchase 2 sets of each for me. As for me, I will first tour around the island before returning to Profound Jade Palace. 10,000-year-old spirit medicine? Yes. Yulong did not say much and asked Ning Fan what he needed spiritual herbs for. However, he did not leave after receiving the jade slip. Each of the 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs would cost tens of thousands of immortal jades at least. If it was a rare herb, it would not be strange to sell it for hundreds of thousands of immortal jades. Yulong, a mere third revolution pill master with an early nascent soul realm cultivation base, did not have millions of immortal jades to buy the herbs. He was waiting for Ning Fan to give him the money. Why aren't you going? Do you want to disobey my order? This old servant dares not. But, my lord, you need to give me money when you want to buy things. This old servant does not have that much money. It doesn't matter. You can go to the Chinese medicine workshop of the Pleasure Devil sect and ask for the herbs. Most likely, they will not dare to refuse. What? My lord wants this old servant to buy the herbs empty-handed. This is the Pleasure Devil sect, a sect with a spirit-severing realm cultivator. Even though my lord's reputation is great, it is inappropriate to rob the herbs in the territory of the Pleasure Devil sect. Yulong trembled. He did not dare to disobey Ning Fan's order, but he also did not dare to rob the herbs in the territory of the 10 sections. Take this token and I will guarantee your safety. Ning Fan frowned. He patted his storage pouch and took out a black jade token and gave it to Yulong. Yulong was stunned at first, then he felt strange. What kind of token would not cause any trouble when he went to the Chinese medicine workshop of the Pleasure Devil sect? However, when his eyes fell on the black jade token, he was shocked and found it hard to believe. This is... I can't be wrong. This is the ancestors' token of the Pleasure Devil sect. It is the token of Senior Su Russian. Why is this token in the hands of my lord? Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Yes. Yulong clasped his fists respectfully and left in a hurry. He was afraid that he would annoy Ning Fan again. However, the respect he had for Ning Fan in his heart had risen to the maximum. With this token, it would not be difficult for him to obtain dozens of 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs from the Chinese medicine workshop. However, Yulong couldn't understand why the token of spirit-severing realm cultivator, Su Russian, would be in the hands of his master. Rumor had it that Su Russian was a loner. He never made friends with any external endless sea cultivators and would not give his token to anyone. However, his master had obtained Su Russian's token. That is to say, no matter what his master does on the Pleasure Immortal Island, Su Russian would protect him as long as he didn't do anything outrageous. No wonder he was welcomed by the vice sect master of the Pleasure Devil sect and entered the Black Jade Palace. It turned out that the Pleasure Devil sect's spirit-severing realm old ancestor, Su Russian, was pleasing my master. To be able to make a spirit-severing realm old ancestor curry favor with him. My master is extraordinary. Following such a master was not a bad thing, but an extremely good thing. Yulong was overwhelmed with emotions. He left with the token in his hand. Ning Fan pinched the female corpse's soft hand and his eyes slightly narrowed. 17 kinds of 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs were needed to heal the appearance of Hyacinth Lady and Camellia Lady. 5th Revolution Pill, Facial Restoration Pill. The reason why he asked Yulong to ask for these herbs was to test Su Russian's bottom line. He wanted to see how much this person would allow him to ask for. He could help Su Russian, but Su Russian must give him enough benefits. The lives of at least 150 wild beasts were not something that could be settled with just 50 drops of nether milk. Especially now when Su Russian was in a terrible fix and was running for his life. If Ning Fan didn't raise the price and extort a huge sum of money from Su Rushan, he would be a fool. Pills, magical treasures, immortal jades and even, the heart of Mother Earth. If it's for the heart of Mother Earth and the hope of reaching the spirit-severing realm, it's not impossible to take the risk and kill 150 wild beasts. In short, I'll see if Yulong's request for these herbs is successful and test Su Rushan's attitude. There are still 3 days. 3 days later. I'll give you my answer. Before that, I'll just stroll around the Pleasure Union Immortal Island. The Pleasure Union Immortal Island was where the Pleasure Devil sect was located. It occupied less than 70,000 li. It was considered a small floating island. It didn't seem to fit the status of one of the 10 great sects of the Pleasure Devil sect. However, this island was made up of high-quality spiritual ores. The island was densely packed with spiritual ores and was full of metal spiritual energy. If one cultivates metal element cultivation methods, their cultivation speed would be twice as fast as on Penglai Immortal Island. The Pleasure Devil Sea was famous for its spiritual ores. The magical treasures and weapons here were also of higher quality compared to other places in the external Endless Sea. Moreover, there were many rare spiritual metals produced here. It was said that even mortal void-grade spiritual metal with spirit enhancement could be found occasionally. As for the Great Cultivator Auction, there would even be earth-profound grade spiritual equipment sold here. The outer island occupied 1/3 of the entire island. It was a place for foreign cultivators to rest. The inner island was where the disciples of the Pleasure Devil sect stayed and cultivated. On the outer island, there were tens of thousands of shops which formed more than 10 markets of different sizes. Because of the auction and the secret realm of the broken world, there was an endless stream of cultivators who came to this island. Enjoying the sea breeze, Ning Fan held the obedient female corpse's hand and wandered around the market. Among the crowd, most of them were Gold Core Realm cultivators. There were only a few Harmonious Spirit Realm cultivators. As for Vein Opening Realm cultivators, most of them came with their seniors to see the world. On both sides of the street, there were many rogue cultivators who set up their own stalls. For a temporary stall like this, one only needed to pay 10 immortal jades to get permission to set up a stall. Middle-grade pill cauldron, used to concoct third revolution pills and below, only 600 immortal jades. Bitter spirit pills, a bottle of 20 pills, 800 immortal jades. Harmonious spirit Tao friends, come and have a look. Middle-grade flying sword, 200 immortal jades. Ugh, although it's a little damaged, it's still usable. The noisy hawking made Ning Fan forget about killing and cultivation. It was as if he had returned to his childhood, to the time when he was still immortal. 10 years in the outside world was 300 years in Ning Fan's life. 300 years was enough for Ning Fan to forget a lot of things. As the sea breeze blew, he spread out his divine sense. Everything within a radius of 3,000 miles, including the rustling of the grass and the people coming and going, was recorded in his mind. 16 years of being immortal, 2 years of warmth in Yu country, 300 years of lonely cultivation journey. Everything was recorded in his mind. Along the way, his fate seemed to have been played by someone in the unseen world. But every time, he had to go against his fate. He couldn't bear to see his master die, he couldn't bear to see Ning City destroyed, he couldn't bear to see Suchio get killed, he couldn't bear to see Jiha get killed, he didn't like killing people. If he could, he was willing to let time stay in 7 Apricot City forever. But if he didn't kill on this road, he wouldn't have so many relationships and wouldn't feel the warmth of being alive. He held the female corpse's hand and stood silently in the crowd with his eyes closed. His state of mind, however, slowly ascended with the touch. His state of mind was moving towards the late nascent soul realm. Just a little bit more, an opportunity. Ning Fan was secretly shocked. He didn't expect that his state of mind cultivation would be close to a breakthrough at this moment. It was just a little bit more, but no matter what, he couldn't touch it. What's missing? His palm that was holding the female corpse was slightly sweaty. His eyes under his eyelids became restless. The black snow in the sky, the surrounding magnetic force, the sea fog. Everything seemed to make Ning Fan feel annoyed and depressed. Scenes of slaughter and bloody memories swirled in his mind, causing him to almost go crazy. It was as if there was a voice representing the heavenly Tao in Ning Fan's heart asking. The Devil's Sea is boundless, turn back and you will be saved, turn back, how can I turn back? If I don't turn back, what should I do? Ning Fan opened his eyes. They were empty and blank, as if he had sunk into his heart devil. But at this moment, the female corpse reached out her hand and caressed Ning Fan's face worriedly. Her soft and choppy voice gently rang in Ning Fan's ears. Light is not troublesome, look at flowers. In his empty mind, Ning Fan seemed to have heard a voice that was saving him. Is it Wei-Yang? He focused his mind and his eyes became clear. He was secretly shocked. Just now, I was almost controlled by my heart devil, my cultivation base is rising too fast. My state of mind can't keep up with it. It's really dangerous. He smiled at the female corpse gratefully and rubbed her hair as a sign of gratitude. He was grateful that the female corpse woke him up when he was in danger. Following the female corpse's finger, Ning Fan's eyes fell on a pot of orchid. The petals were pure and white, like a woman's lips, curling outwards. When the sea breeze blew, the orchid swayed gently, giving off a pleasant sound like a silver bell. This is Ling Lan. Moreover, this orchid had 5 white stamens. When the breeze blew, the 5 sounds of gong, shang, jiao, zheng and yu would be heard. Such a rare Ling Lan blooming at the same time and the 5 sounds appearing at the same time was like heavenly music. It was truly rare. Ling Lan. Jihe once said that she wanted a Ling Lan from the endless sea. Jihe, when he thought of Jihe, Ning Fan's heart gradually calmed down. His lips curved into a warm smile. As for the heart devil, he no longer had to worry about it. Since I have already fallen into the Devil's Sea, why should I turn back? My left hand is stained with the blood of all the enemies in the world. My right hand is erased of all the sins of life. If you are here, I will have no regrets. Ning Fan took a deep breath. His eyes were filled with indifference. At this moment, his mental state had risen to the late nascent soul realm. In the early nascent soul realm, he was a sharp sword. In the mid-nascent soul realm, he was a sheathed sword. In the late nascent soul realm, he was an edgeless sword. All the sharpness was removed, leaving only the weight. He looked at the Ling Lan and smiled faintly. How much is this flower? The owner of the stall was a harmonious spirit girl. She had an ordinary appearance but was untainted by dust. When her eyes met Ning Fan's, her face immediately reddened. 100 immortal jades, 100? Yes. Yes. Although this Ling Lan is an ordinary spiritual herb and is young, it blooms with 5 flowers and sounds. It is a rare flower that only appears once in 1,000 years. It has a name called Flying Immortal. If young master thinks that it is expensive, 95 immortal jades is fine. How about 90? The girl was slightly nervous. 100 immortal jades was enough to buy an ordinary mid-grade magical treasure. Normal cultivators would not buy flowers, unless they were cultivators with a special hobby who loved flowers as much as their own lives. She had set up a stall here for 3 days. If she still couldn't sell this flower, it would be a huge loss. Her nervous eyes made Ning Fan feel a little amused. Flying immortal, huh? The 5 sounds are like music, but it has the intent of flying immortal. I want this flower. Here are 200 immortal jades. Take the extra as my thanks, thanks. Thanks for this Ling Lan. It reminded Ning Fan of his worries and helped him break through his state of mind. Of course, the girl didn't understand this gratitude. Her eyes were filled with joy. It was rare to see a flower in the mortal world being sold for 200 immortal jades. Just as Ning Fan paid and before he could keep the flower pot, a girl's surprised voice was heard from the crowd. This orchid has 5 flowers and 5 sounds. All of them are white. Isn't this the famous species of flying immortal? I didn't expect such a wonderful flower to be found in this small market. After the woman's voice rang out, a cultured and refined male's voice immediately rang out, indifferently fawning over her. Hee, it is the flower's honor if Miss Chilling likes this flower. Then, a man and a woman, together with 8 guards, squeezed through the crowd and came to the girl's stall. As soon as this group of people appeared, some cultivators recognized them and scattered in all directions. This girl is the daughter of the pleasure devil old ancestor, the young lady of the Su family, Su Chilling. Isn't her companion the son of the vice sect master of the 10 sects profound virtues sect? Hiss. Let's leave quickly. Don't get involved in this trouble. Among them, the young man was wearing a high hat and wide belt. His ears were drooping to his shoulders. He was elegant and handsome. His face was like jade. He was wearing a light golden robe, giving him a noble aura. He didn't care about the comments of the crowd. He took a step forward and his eyes fell on Ning Fan. He smiled politely. This friend, I am Zhao Zijing of the Profound Virtues sect. My female companion has taken a fancy to this orchid. I wonder if you can part with it. This person didn't reveal his chi. But Ning Fan could tell that he was a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator and the woman was a peak gold core realm cultivator. As for the other 8 guards, except for one who was at the early nascent soul realm, the others were all peak gold core realm cultivators. Even though this person's words were polite, he naturally had the intention to oppress Ning Fan by mentioning the name of the 10 sects profound virtues sect. Moreover, this person's eyes were undetectable. When he glanced at the female corpse, his eyes flashed with surprise. This scene didn't escape Ning Fan's observation. Even though this person had a dignified appearance, he probably wasn't a good person. I'm sorry. This flower is a gift for my wife. I can't part with it. But you don't understand the value of the flying immortal. You don't understand flowers, but you still have this flower. It's obviously a waste. If you are willing to part with this flower, I will give you 10,000 immortal jades. How about it? The woman in yellow named Su Chilling frowned and said. Whether you understand it or not, this flower is mine. Besides, I don't lack 10,000 immortal jades. Ning Fan held the female corpse's hand and walked away. The young man in golden robes called Zhao Zijing took a step forward and blocked Ning Fan's path with his arm. His handsome smile contained a trace of gloominess. 10,000 immortal jades isn't low. It's better for fellow Taoist to part with it. Oh, interesting. If I don't part with this flower, don't tell me that you, a mere mid-nascent soul realm cultivator, will dare to attack me? Ning Fan stopped and sneered. A mere mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. This friend, you sure have a big mouth. Aren't you afraid that the wind will cut your tongue? Zhao Zijing's eyes turned cold. His bone age was 900 years old but he had already cultivated to the mid-nascent soul realm. A mid-nascent soul realm cultivator at the age of 900 years old. It was highly possible for him to break through to the peak nascent soul realm in this lifetime and be known as one of the 7 sons of the external endless sea. Among the 7 sons of the external endless sea, he was considered the weakest. However, his aptitude was already terrifying to ordinary people. However, this young man in front of him actually dared to say that he, Zhao Zijing, was a mere mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. What kind of cultivation base did this person have? How could he be so arrogant? He was a dignified nascent soul realm cultivator, yet he still dared to talk back to him. If it wasn't for the fact that he had to maintain his composure in front of a beauty, he, Zhao Zijing, would have already punished this person. Zhao Zijing's smile didn't diminish. However, he secretly planted an imprint on Ning Fan's body with his spirit sense. It was most probably for revenge later. This imprint couldn't be hidden from Ning Fan. However, he didn't care about it at all. This Zhao Zijing was courting death. However, what made Ning Fan surprised was Su Qiling's attitude. She walked towards Ning Fan with light steps and persuaded Zhao Zijing. Forget it, brother Zhao. Although the Ascension realm is good, this young master's words weren't rude. This flower is bought by him, so it belongs to him. Father has been worrying about important matters recently. It's better not to create trouble. While speaking, she secretly used her spirit sense to erase Zhao Zijing's imprint. Although it was a peak gold core spirit sense, it was enough to erase the imprint of a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. That spirit sense seemed to be quite unique. Ning Fan was secretly surprised. This woman has a good heart. For the sake of this woman, I won't do any harm to Zhao Zijing's offense. Young master, you should leave quickly. Be careful when you do things in the future. The Endless Sea isn't a peaceful place. Su Qiling didn't think too highly of Ning Fan. In her opinion, Ning Fan was most likely just a harmonious spirit realm cultivator. It was very dangerous to offend a nascent soul realm cultivator with such a temperament. However, how many people in the world would be willing to offend a nascent soul realm cultivator for a flower? Could it be that this person was actually a lover of flowers? Thank you for your kind words. Ning Fan held the female corpse's hand and left indifferently. From the beginning to the end, he didn't look at Su Qiling. Such indifference was definitely not a pretense of Zhao Zijing. This made Su Qiling secretly surprised. This young man looked like an ordinary person, but he was extraordinary. She didn't know where he came from. Her eyes slightly flashed with a trace of brilliance, which turned into a smile. It was a recognition of Ning Fan's bearing. That's right. Only a gentleman who attends flowers can have such a unique poison. When this trace of brilliance fell into Zhao Zijing's eyes, his heart turned cold. Humph. This Zhao has been trying to please this woman every day, but she didn't smile at me. That person who stole her flower made her smile. Humph. Sure enough, she's a whore. However, this woman is still a spirit-severing realm cultivator. Father told me to make this woman feel at ease. Only then can Father be promoted from the position of Vice Sect Master to the position of Sect Master with Su Russian's good impression. Zhao Zijing's expression didn't change, but his words were somewhat cold. He also saw that Su Qiling erased the mark he left on her. Obviously, she wanted to protect this Ning Fan whom she just met for the first time. In his heart, he was even more determined to settle the score with this Ning Fan. A mere junior in front of a nascent soul realm senior was too impudent. Friend, do you not dare to leave your name? Zhao Zijing's words were filled with coldness. You don't want to know my name. Ning Fan didn't turn his head, but there was an unerasable evil qi in his words. This evil qi had been freely released after the advancement of his mental state. It was only directed at Zhao Zijing. This evil qi made Zhao Zijing's eyes widen in surprise. The nascent soul in his dantian trembled and was on the verge of collapse. His expression greatly changed. Who is this person? Such a tyrannical evil qi was definitely not a nameless person in the external endless sea. Perhaps only the first of the 7 scions of the external endless sea could be compared to him. Investigate. Find out this person's background. This Xiao wants to see who this person is. He's so arrogant that he doesn't even dare to leave his name. Zhao Zijing instructed through telepathy. He sneered in his heart. So what if this person is strong? As long as he doesn't have the background of one of the 10 great sects, I have ways to crush him to death. Su Qiling looked at Zhao Zijing with disgust and said indifferently. This little girl isn't feeling well. I will return to the Blissful Summit to rest for the time being. In that case, Brother Zhao, please do as you wish. Zhao Zijing's eyes were still as calm as before, but his heart was burning with anger. What a whore who likes the new and hates the old. One day, I, Zhao Zijing, will make you fall into my hands. Forget it. I'll find out the background of this stinking brat first. Since he's so arrogant, he probably has a weak cultivation base but has a strong background. He might be a young master of a second-rate force in the external endless sea. So what if he's a second-rate force? When the 7 scions of the external endless sea arrive, Zhao Zijing will still dare to kill him even if he has a late nascent soul realm cultivation base. What's more, he's just a mere ant. Chapter 224. A stretch of road, a stretch of dusk. Ning Fan calmed himself down. With the improvement of his state of mind, he became even steadier. There were 8 people sneaking behind him, but he didn't care. They were courting death. The magnetic force of the joyous Union Island was so strong that even nascent soul cultivators wouldn't dare to spread out their spirit sense, but Ning Fan did. Those lackeys of Zhao Zijing thought that they were following Ning Fan's in secret, but they didn't expect that they were already 4 people in Ning Fan's eyes. Light has bad people. The female corpse's innocent eyes were filled with worry. Bad guy. What about me? Ning Fan asked with a smile. Light is good. The woman nodded firmly. Silly girl. Ning Fan could not help but chuckle and shake his head while stroking the black hair of the female corpse. Humans could not be differentiated by good or bad. The 8 people behind him were not bad people. They were people who were about to die. Within 2 days, Ning Fan seemed to be taking a leisurely stroll in a courtyard. However, his movement technique was extremely fast and he had already visited all 13 markets on the outer island. He bought the temple flower for the female corpse, as well as a lot of spirit ores, spirit herbs, and pill recipes. Countless cultivators brushed past Ning Fan but none of them knew how strong he was. The 8 of them were still following him. However, Ning Fan was walking further and further away. Eventually, he arrived at an uninhabited island region. Lu Wujie was puzzled, extremely puzzled. For 2 consecutive days, he followed Zhao Zijing's order and followed Ning Fan, trying to find out his background. However, the result was that Ning Fan did not come into contact with anyone at all. He also did not return to the inn where he stayed. As such, without any proof, they could not figure out the origins of this person. The more he followed Ning Fan, the more astonished he became. In just 2 days, Ning Fan and the female corpse had visited all 13 markets on the island. They had spent at least 10 million immortal jades to purchase spiritual herbs, spiritual ores, and pill recipes. 10 million immortal jades. What kind of young master could carry such a huge amount of money? Although he was considered a nascent soul foreign minister of Xuanda sect, after cultivating for 1,400 years, he did not even have more than 2 million immortal jade when he was at his most well-off. He suddenly realized that Su Qiuling and Zhao Zijing's attempt to intimidate the young man in front of him with 10,000 immortal jade was really showing off in front of an expert and making a fool of themselves. This person's wealth was probably more than Zhao Zijing's father. As for Lu Wujin, he still could not see through Ning Fan's cultivation base after observing him for 2 days. Sometimes, his aura was at the harmonious spirit realm, vein opening realm, gold core realm, nascent soul realm, and sometimes, his aura was comparable to a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. This fluctuating qi made Lu Wujin feel a deep fear. If it wasn't for the magical treasure that gave off a false aura, this person's cultivation base had already surpassed his own cultivation base. Boss, are we still following? The 7 gold core realm cultivators behind him were already somewhat afraid. Follow. If we don't find out the truth, young lord won't let us off. However, why is this person walking further and further in the wrong direction? That's right. This place is so remote. It's really a good place to kill someone and steal their treasures. Hiss. At the mention of killing and seizing treasures, the 8 of them felt a chill down their spines. An extremely bad feeling arose in their hearts. At this moment, Ning Fan, who was 1,000 zhang ahead of him, halted his footsteps amidst the thick sea mist and black snow. Along the way, he did not leave a single footprint on the black snow, drifting like a ghost. At this moment, Ning Fan turned around. His eyes flashed with a cold light. The gentleness and elegance that he had displayed during the past 2 days was nowhere to be seen. You bunch of ants, do you really want to know my name? It's really tiring to follow me for 2 days. There was no joy or anger in his words. The only thing that could be felt was the bone-chilling devil might. Under the disturbance of this devil might, Lu Wuzhen could no longer hold back his qi and revealed himself. The other Gold Core Realm cultivators also felt a chill in their hearts and got rid of their invisibility. The young man in front of them only took 1 step. However, this step seemed to be stepping on the heaven and earth, causing ripples to form. When the ripples reached him, Lu Wuzhen spurted out blood and was sent flying. He was already severely injured. As for the other 7 Gold Core Realm cultivators, their bodies exploded into a mist of blood. Their faces were filled with disbelief, but they were already dead. You? Who are you? How dare you kill someone in the territory of the 10 sects? Don't you know that the 10 sects are like brothers? Who am I? Who do you think I am? The second step. Ning Fan's black hair fluttered in the wind and snow. His body was surrounded by a terrifying evil qi that turned into a faint blood-red light. Under this evil qi, Lu Wuzhen's heart trembled. One of his arms was severed by the sword shadow that appeared out of nowhere. Ah! He screamed and fell into a pool of blood. His eyes were wide open as he stared at the young man who was approaching him step by step. Who do you think I am? The third step. With this step, Lu Wuzhen's body was crushed. In the mist of blood, his tiny nascent soul trembled uncontrollably. He didn't even dare to form a spell to teleport. 3 steps to trample the heavens and kill Yuan Chu. Surnamed Zhou. The arrogance of someone who dares to kill anyone. That's right. That's right. There was only one devil in the external endless sea who behaved like this. Lu Wuzhen suddenly recalled that 2 days ago, when his young lord fiercely asked for Ning Fan's name, Ning Fan sneer and reply. You wouldn't want to know my name. Yes. Indeed. If Lu Wuzhen was given a chance to choose again, he wouldn't want to know that the weak young man that he had been following for 2 days was actually the madman who made the external endless sea silent after a massacre. Zhou Ming. Zhou Ming. He was Zhou Ming. His young lord had gotten himself into trouble. Huge trouble. He must tell his young lord about this news immediately. He must escape. He must escape from the Pleasure Devil Sea and return to the Xuanda sect. He must ask for the spirit severing old ancestors' protection. Otherwise, no one below the spirit severing realm would be able to withstand Zhou Ming's devil might. Broken nascent blood escape. Lu Wuzhen suddenly formed a spell. His nascent soul trembled violently and immediately became illusory. 90% of his cultivation base had dissipated due to the tremble. The illusory nascent soul turned into a ray of blood-red light and traveled 1,000 miles in an instant, heading straight for the Rising Sparrow platform. I must tell my young lord about this news. I must. Oh. He's a loyal servant. However, he's an enemy. Cut the grass and remove the roots. The corner of Ning Fan's mouth curved into a cold smile. He held the female corpse and took a step forward, disappearing into the snowstorm. The snow was falling. On the Rising Sparrow platform, more than 20 nascent soul realm cultivators were enjoying the snow, the black snow and the 4th-grade spirit wine, Blacking Luo. The experts were warming the wine, chatting and discussing the Tao. Among them, the most eye-catching were the 7 youths. The 7 sons of the external endless sea. They were the 7 most talented youths in the external endless sea. Among the 7, Zhao Zijing was only at the bottom. Among the 7, a cultivation of 900 years at the middle nascent soul stage was insignificant. The third in aptitude was Lu Zong of the Ice Soul sect. This person formed his nascent soul when he was 600 years old and reached the mid-stage of 700 years old. His soul streamer could contain millions of souls. He could even fight against a nascent soul cultivator. The person with the second highest aptitude was Qingyun Sword Faction's Luan. This person formed his nascent soul at the age of 500, mid-stage at the age of 600, and advanced to the nascent soul stage at the age of 900. With a sword in hand, he once fought Luo Fei, a grand cultivator of the Purple Charm sect, to a draw. The one with the best aptitude was Wang Yun from the Dao sect. This person formed his nascent soul at 400 years old, reached the middle stage of nascent soul at 500 years old, advanced to nascent soul at 600 years old, and reached the peak of nascent soul at 900 years old. He had once fought to a draw with the former East Pagoda master of the Lost World Palace, Dong Qing. The 7 of them drank, but they appeared to be united, but they were actually divided. However, there was a trace of impatience in Zhao Zijing's eyes, which attracted everyone's attention. Oh. Brother Zhao seems to have a knot in his heart. Could it be that there was something troubling him? Do you want me to help you vent your anger? Lu Zong fiddled with a blood-red streamer and smiled evilly. Thank you for your concern, Brother Lu. It's just that an ant who hasn't even reached the harmonious spirit realm spoke rudely to me. I have already sent someone to follow that person, but he might be slacking off because he didn't have any evidence. Otherwise, he would have reported back after 2 days. In the territory of the 10 sects, there is a harmonious spirit realm junior who dares to provoke Brother Zhao. Lu En's eyes flashed. The huge scabbard on his back was shining with silver light in the wind and snow. That's right. I have imprinted this person's appearance. Brothers, please take a look. If there's a chance, help me get rid of this person. That way, I will be able to sweep away my depression. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhao Zijing patted his storage pouch and took out a jade slip. With a few hand seals, an illusory image was reflected from the jade slip, replaying the scene of that day. In the illusory image, Ning Fan's sneering expression, indifferent attitude, and the words "just a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator" immediately made Lu Zong and several other geniuses unhappy. Although they were geniuses, they were also mid-nascent soul realm cultivators. Didn't that mean that they were also just, in Ning Fan's words? Humph. This person is so arrogant. However, this person seems a little familiar. The young master of the Purple Charm sect sneered, but his eyes were filled with a trace of confusion. Familiar? Speaking of which, it does seem like I've seen him before, but it also seems like I haven't. The young master of the Profound Firmament sect said with a solemn expression. Seeing so many people seem to have seen Ning Fan before, Zhao Zijing felt strange. Could this person really be a disciple of a powerful sect in the external endless sea? But if that's the case, why haven't I heard of this person before? While he was pondering, an elder of the Profound Firmament sect slapped his thigh and pointed at Ning Fan's illusory image with a surprised expression. It's him. It's him. I've seen this person before. Young Master Zhao is wrong. How could this person be a harmonious spirit cultivator? He is clearly a mid-nascent soul cultivator. When he goes berserk, his aura is even stronger than a late-nascent soul cultivator. The one who spoke was an elder of the Profound Sky sect from the Mystic Light Celestial Island. He was at the mid-nascent soul realm, and his surname was Jiang. This person's voice naturally attracted everyone's attention. Zhao Zijing was secretly shocked. If what Elder Jiang said was true, and this person was a nascent intermediate stage cultivator with battle prowess comparable to a nascent late stage cultivator, then wouldn't he have offended a ruthless person? But why had he never heard of this person before? Elder Jiang, are you joking? If this person is at the mid-nascent soul realm, how could I not sense his cultivation? No. I can joke about other things, but I definitely won't joke about this. More than 10 years ago, this old man led the disciples of the sect to the sea to kill the mermaids for training. However, it happened to be during the 10,000 Mermaids riot. 10,000 Mermaids and Merman riot? Oh, it's that time. I heard that it was caused by the people of the demon's sealing palace in the inner endless sea. Zhao Zijing nodded his head. However, Elder Zhang's next words caused Zhao Zijing's expression to change. Not only him, but all the youths were secretly shocked. At that time, it was like a ferocious devil that could travel 1,000 miles in an instant. The expert who passed by me was this person. This person sacrificed his sea of consciousness in exchange for the ability to travel 1,000 miles in an instant. I can't forget that crazy and cold gaze of his. This person asked for the location of the 10,000 Mermaids riot and rushed into the group of mermaids alone. What? One person against 10,000 mermaids? A speed of 1,000 miles in an instant? Could this person really be a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator? The scene became silent for a moment. Even Lu Zong and the others who threatened to stand up for Zhao Zijing were silent. A mid-nascent soul realm cultivator that was comparable to a late-nascent soul realm cultivator was still fine. However, if he was a lunatic, no one would be willing to offend a lunatic. Only God knows if this lunatic would risk his life or not. Zhao Zijing let out a few dry coughs and exchanged glances with another elder of the Xuanda sect. Both of them could see the fear in each other's eyes. It seemed like the 8 people that he, Zhao Zijing, had sent to follow Ning Fan this time and failed to return. Most likely, they had been killed by Ning Fan. However, even if this person was a lunatic, he shouldn't be crazy enough to kill the experts of the 10 sects in the territory of the 10 sections. After calming himself down, Zhao Zijing poured 2 cups of wine and said with a calm smile. Shattering his sea of consciousness and traveling 1,000 miles in an instant. This kind of madness is indeed terrifying. However, he is just a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator after all. From what Elder Jiang said, even though this person's strength is extraordinary, he is just a rogue cultivator after all. Judging from the direction he is heading, he is most likely a rogue cultivator from the coastal cultivation countries. In that case, he has no roots in the external endless sea. What is there to be afraid of? But before he could finish drinking, another person spoke up. I've seen this person before. A few days ago, when I entered the Pleasure Devil Sea, I saw this person fighting against the 5 devils from afar. It seemed like he was trying to save the fairies of the Baiyao sect. I recognized that the 5 devils were the famous 5 ugliest monks of the Black Buddha sect. That's why I didn't dare to help the Baiyao sect and left first. As for that person or the 5 ugliest monks, I don't know who won. However, I heard that the sect master of the Baiyao sect has arrived at this island safely. If this person is still alive, it means that this person has saved the female cultivators from the hands of the 5 ugliest monks. 5 ugliest monks. The 5 ugliest monks of the Black Buddha sect. Elder Shui, are you sure you didn't see wrongly? I'm sure. However, I don't know the result of the battle between this person and the 5 devils. What kind of result do you want? Yesterday, when I passed by the outer island, I saw the vice sect master of the Black Buddha sect, old devil Xie Guang, who was at the early spirit severing realm. As soon as he entered the outer island, he flew into a rage. I heard that the 5 ugliest monks of the Black Buddha sect were killed. If Elder Shui is not mistaken, this person is the one who killed the 5 devils. Hiss, the 20+ nascent soul realm cultivators at the scene gasped at the same time. As for the jade goblet in Zhao Zijing's hand, it fell to the ground with a pa sound and shattered into pieces. Their hearts were filled with waves of shock. The 5 ugliest monks. The late nascent soul realm cultivator, Miu Yan, was the leader while the other 4 mid-nascent soul realm cultivators were his assistants. Rumor has it that Miu Yen had a second nascent soul realm cultivator. His true combat power was comparable to that of a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. With the help of the 5 of them, he could be considered as a mid-level expert among the peak nascent soul realm cultivators of the Internal Sea. However, the 5 ugliest monks were actually dead. Before he died, he even fought against Ning Fan. Doesn't this mean that the person who killed the 5 devils is Ning Fan? If that's the case, how could he be a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator? He is obviously a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. Moreover, he is considered as one of the top experts among the peak nascent soul realm cultivators. At this moment, Luan of the Azure Cloud Sword sect, who was on par with Luo Fei, had his sword humming behind his back. At this moment, Wang Yun of the Daofa sect, who was undefeated in the battle against Dong Qing, had a hint of light flashing across his eyes. There is actually a handsome young man in the external endless sea who has the combat power of a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. Zhao Zijing's mind was in a mess. If Ning Fan is a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator, he would only be wary of him even if he is a lunatic. However, if Ning Fan is a peak nascent soul realm cultivator and he is a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator, Zhao Zijing could not afford to offend him at all. His father was the vice sect master of the Profound Virtues sect, but his cultivation base was only at the mid-nascent soul realm. Zhao Zijing himself was also a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. Thus, he had to be polite to late nascent soul realm cultivators. As for peak nascent soul realm cultivators, even divine transformation realm cultivators had to be polite to them. How could Zhao Zijing afford to offend them? Damn it! Why hasn't Lu Wuzhen returned yet? Could something have happened to him? No. Even if he is a peak nascent soul realm cultivator, he would not kill the experts of the 10 sects in the territory of the 10 sects. However, I have offended him after all. Even if I didn't offend him too deeply, there might still be room for negotiation. Zhao Zijing no longer had the mood to drink wine. He suddenly rose to his feet and gave an order to the mid-nascent soul realm elders behind him. Elder Yuan, quickly prepare a generous gift. I want to pay a visit to this peak nascent soul realm cultivator and apologize to him. If he knew that this person was a peak nascent soul realm cultivator, why would he, Zhao Zijing, send someone to follow him? If he knew that this person was a peak nascent soul realm cultivator, how would he, Zhao Zijing, dare to leave a tracking mark on him? Ridiculous. Ridiculous. He painstakingly recruited experts of the external endless sea to expand his father's forces. In the end, he offended a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. However, it was already too late for Zhao Zijing to have such a beautiful dream. All of a sudden, the smell of blood filled the air along with the wind and snow. Immediately, all the experts put on a vigilant expression. In the night sky, a ray of blood-red light flashed. Then, an illusory, heavily injured nascent soul realm cultivator dashed towards them in fear. His face was filled with panic. Zhao Zijing's face was filled with shock. Then, he flew into a rage. The severely injured nascent soul realm cultivator in front of him was none other than Lu Wuzhen. He attacked you. How dare he? Even if he is a peak nascent soul realm cultivator, how can I let this matter rest after injuring a nascent soul realm elder of my 10 sects? No. No. Seeing that his young lord was still unaware of the danger, the illusory nascent soul realm cultivator was burning with anxiety. After half a day, he barely managed to utter a few words. Run. Run. It's him, run. Why do you have to run? I respect him as a peak nascent soul realm cultivator and treat him with respect. However, he injured a nascent soul realm cultivator of my sect. This matter must be explained to the divine transformation realm old ancestor of my sect. Thinking about how the mysterious peak nascent soul realm cultivator injured Lu Wuzhen, Zhao Zijing pretended to be righteous, but he was actually secretly happy. Great, this is great. If this person didn't injure him, then it would be troublesome if he offended him. Since this person injured someone, then this matter was no longer a conflict between Zhao Zijing and this person. Instead, it was a conflict between this person and the entire Xuanda sect. The divine transformation realm old ancestor would not just sit back and do nothing. I don't need to be afraid of any peak nascent soul realm cultivator. Run. Run. Lu Wuzhen desperately squeezed out a few words. He was extremely loyal. However, he didn't know that his young lord was extremely happy that he was severely injured. What are you running for? You coward. Lu Wuzhen, I order you to lead the way and find this peak nascent soul realm cultivator. Today, I must make this person give my Xuanda sect an explanation. An explanation. You don't deserve it. At this moment, a blood-red evil chi swept across the rising sparrow stage. More than 20 nascent soul realm experts felt like they were suffocating under the evil chi. In the wind and snow, a young man in white robes and a black cloak appeared. His eyes were cold and indifferent. Behind him was a woman with the same cold expression. When this person appeared, the chest of all the nascent soul realm experts trembled. Early nascent soul realm experts coughed out blood and were injured. Those mid-nascent soul realm experts were not injured, but their chi was in a mess. Even the number one genius among the peak nascent soul realm cultivators, Wang Yun, had a drastic change of expression. Even though he was a genius, under Ning Fan's intense gaze, he felt like he was hallucinating. He was definitely not a match for this person. Once they fight, he would definitely die. He had only felt this kind of feeling from the divine transformation realm old ancestor of his sect. It's him. It's him. Among the peak nascent soul realm cultivators in the external endless sea, there was only one person who could make Wang Yun afraid. He was Zhou Ming. It's him. Zhou Ming. Lu Wuzhen finally said a complete sentence. However, it was too late. These two simple words were even more shocking than the might of that one step. As soon as these two words left his mouth, the people of the other 6 sects cupped their fists and fled far away. They quickly drew a clear line between themselves and the Xuanda sect. No matter what happened tonight, it would not be surprising. Even if Zhao Zijing died, it would be because the other party was Zhou Ming. No matter what happened tonight, it would have nothing to do with them because the other party was Zhou Ming. The endless sea was such a place. Killing one is a crime, killing 10,000 is a hero. The more ferocious the devil, the more enemies you make, the less people would dare to provoke you. On the contrary, showing weakness and befriending others would be considered as cowardice. Zhao Zijing's body trembled because he had offended Zhou Ming. This person could fight against 3 peak nascent soul realm cultivators alone. Even the old ancestor of the sect had given a strict order. All disciples must not provoke this devil. Otherwise, it would have nothing to do with the sect if they died in the hands of this devil. You can die now, killing intent flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. Zhao Zijing completely collapsed on the ground. I'm done for. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.